Welcome to Bunto's Silent Dogfight, episode number 7, RanCam Campbell, our special guest. I know that there's many participants already lining up to bust in here, but we're going to go ahead and open it up to participants after our hour-long interview. How are you doing tonight, Ran? Hope you're doing well.
I am good, Brunto. My friend, how are you, sir?
Pretty good. Okay, just let me give you a quick background for our listening audience. RanCam Campbell is a Major League G+ YouTube personality stationed currently right now in Toronto, Canada. He's been a Christian for 4 years, and he's currently a business owner in sales and, excitingly enough, a soon-to-be author. How are you doing tonight, Ran?
I'm all right. I mean, I've been looking forward to talking to you, Brunto. I'll say this, and I don't say this often, but you're one of my favorite atheist YouTubers. I think that you have a respect for people, and it comes out in the way that you deal with people. I just wanted to make mention of that.
Thank you, Ran, but of course I'm not going to hold back. Ran, first off, what is the basis of your faith? For once and all time, please explain it to our listeners.
I am 100% Christian.
Okay.
I am a follower of Jesus Christ. He is my Lord and my Savior. And I put all of my faith, hope, and knowledge in him.
Okay. How do you know for sure you're doing the right thing?
It's a conviction you get, Brunto. When you see, I never got convicted before, and what I mean by that is that as a lifetime criminal. And a career criminal. If I committed a crime, I never felt bad about it. I never felt it was wrong. I felt that it was a part of my life, and I felt that it was just something I did, and I never felt any kind of a conviction towards it.
Okay, you were a perfect criminal in that way.
No, well, yeah, I felt no remorse. For me, it was a job. It's what I did, and I didn't feel as though I needed to be forgiven or to even ask forgiveness.
Okay, what was the game changer?
When I accepted Christ, I was already kind of doing all right in my life, Brunto. I was already several years off the streets and with a woman that I have recently left. But it wasn't like a lot of people were under this belief that I accepted Jesus in jail.
Right.
That's not true. I had been out of jail for many years when I accepted Christ. I wasn't in a bad place in my life when I accepted Christ.
Okay, that's interesting. Okay, even really, you hit rock bottom, you still weren't into the God concept, right? You still were just, dealing with it. And then after prison, when you were settling yourself, then you said, hey, God, right? How does that work? I mean, people would, can't you see where people are coming from? Think, well, yeah, RanCam accepted it in Jesus in prison. See what I mean? I mean, what was the game changer? Could you explain that?
I started kind of getting convicted when I was in jail.
Okay.
I started God started kind of, having me look at my life and the people around me. I was well respected in the joint. You know what I mean?
All right. What kind of, okay, just to tell our listening audience, what kind of people were you incarcerated with? I mean, just rapists, murderers?
No, they don't, rapists, they're not allowed in population.
Okay, general pop.
Yeah, they're not allowed in GP, so they get put to sleep or, sent out in a body bag.
Right.
You know what I mean? But the guys that I hung up with, cop killers and murderers and bank robbers and thieves, I mean, your average, everyday bad guy.
Troublemakers to the core.
Yeah, most of which took a wrong turn in life. I found out in doing a little bit of a self-assessment during those days, during those years, that drug addiction has a lot to do with most of the people sitting in jail. And I've always said this, that most guys that you see sitting behind bars are there for generally 2 reasons: one, drug addiction, or women.
Interesting. I've heard this too. Okay, so, I mean, were they mentioning Christ in prison or talking about, getting the fuck out or what?
Yeah, well, they were, most of the guys that I associated with were You know, they were the kind of guys that were as well career criminals. I grew up in the streets, Brunto, so
Right.
you know, anytime I went to the joint, everybody already knew me. I never walked into a penitentiary or a jail where, you know, everybody didn't turn around and go, Aces here. That was my nickname, by the way.
Okay.
I was well respected, well known, so much so that as soon as I got arrested and started coming through administration at the bottom of the joint, as you come in and get your change of closure bags and get sent to your block,
Okay.
the coppers would radio upstairs and say, like, an Aces here, whoever's in his cell needs to get out and get it cleaned up. He's here. So that's the kind of respect that I had.
Yeah, you had a name, man.
Yeah, bro. I had, you know,
Reputation.
I called my buddy at 11 o'clock at night, and we were talking about 15 minutes before he realized. He goes, wait a second, what time is that? I go, I don't know. You tell me. He goes, 11:15. He goes, how are you on the phone at this time of night? I said, come on, man. You know, I got lots of respect in here, bro.
Yeah.
And you know what he said to me? He said, yeah. He said, but here's the problem. You're not getting any out here.
Yeah, that's a good one.
And that punched me in my face, bro. That was just one of those moments when I said that God was convicting me. It was kind of like, you know, because that was my boy, right? So I felt that one.
Okay, that's interesting that you feel that God speaks to you through, you know, everyday people,
Yeah, bro.
including criminals.
Yeah, bro.
You know, there's a certain Christian that won't. Well, you know, I don't want. Help me with this, Ran. I mean, that they just don't want to get their hands dirty with, you know, whether you're gay or a criminal or got AIDS. You know what I mean? It's sort of like they treat some people like untouchable. I mean, that's not your approach, right? You like to mingle, help people.
Man, you know what? I started hating people during, you know, the last year after I left my wife. I went through a real hate period when I got so lonely and so disgusted with humanity, bro, that I couldn't even be around anybody, even my own kids, my grandkids.
You start isolating yourself.
Yeah, bro. I'm just now coming out of it now, to be honest with you. I'm still not quite through it, but I'm better than I was, let's say, a year ago or 6 months ago. But I'm not the type of person, like, even now, I just recently joined a church 6-7 weeks ago, and I just got baptized for the first time last Wednesday, a week ago yesterday. And now I'm going to go and start feeding the homeless in downtown Toronto, which I will know most of those people, bro. I haven't done it yet, but I know that when I walk into that homeless shelter, I'm going to know probably 60-70% of the men and women in there, simply because I was on the streets all those years, and I was a criminal down there, and I was in and out of the system. And so it's going to be interesting that I walk into this homeless shelter and see the response I get, because now they would never believe I was a Christian. I can promise you that.
Okay, yeah, you know, that's great. But Ran, what about Christians that are having trouble reaching out? What would you tell them? You know.
Well, I would, you know, if God, you see, here's how I look at it, Brunto. You know, at the end of the day, you're going to be led in the direction that you need to go, and you're either in the will of God or you're not. If you're being convicted to go and help the homeless or to do things that are of Christian behavior, and you're not doing them, then you're either not in the will of God or you're seriously fighting it.
Right.
Or maybe your purpose in being in the body of Christ is to not get involved. I don't know. I know that I'm being convicted right now to help out.
Okay, very good. Well, okay, just comes across my thinking. All right, please tell me about the fruitcakes in prison. How are they treated? Homosexuals.
Well, here in Canada, there is none of that going on.
Okay.
I know in the U.S. It's a little bit different. In Canada, you know, if you're a homosexual in Canada, you have your own. They have their own little place that they go. They don't get.
Oh, really?
Yeah. They're not being all flamboyant and kicking their heels up in the mess hall or in the weight pit. You know what I mean, bro?
Okay, so is that a smart thing to do, Ran?
Ain't nobody humming "It's Raining Men" down the corridors of the penitentiaries in Canada.
Okay, Ran, do you think that's a smart thing to do? Or, I mean, which is smarter? The way we do it here in America, we throw them in with general pop, or that we have or in Canada, where you have a separate prison for them?
Not necessarily a separate prison, but it's, you know, PC,
separate wing.
Custody, right? Now, they're more than welcome to come into public, and a lot of them, you know, might have been on the streets a lot of their lives and know some heavy people, or, you know, them themselves have a little bit of fight in them. So I'm not saying that they don't come to population, but they don't fool around if they are there. They know to hold down the gay thing, you know what I mean?
Right.
There is no gay rape in Canadian penitentiaries. You get
Okay.
caught doing any of that, bro, you will leave in a body bag.
Oh, okay. That's interesting. Okay. Why is there like that? Is that chivalry, Ran? Or is that just we don't want to even have gay on, the radar in the prison system?
It's just not like that in Canadian penitentiaries. And again, not to suggest that it doesn't go on, but
Right.
if it does, it would have to be consensual and hidden,
Right.
because you're not going to be flamboyant about it in a Canadian penitentiary. You're not going to be holding some guy's hand uh, in the weight pit. You know what I mean? You're not
Right.
going to come out to yard and be, acting like you're on some picnic with your girlfriend.
Right. Or
Um,
some guy's bitch.
yeah, bro, because that you'll get your teeth kicked in, man. Ain't nobody likes that in Canadian penitentiaries. It doesn't work like that. You see all these prison movies, these U.S. prison movies.
Right.
I've never been to an American penitentiary, but I would imagine that some of it is probably over the top and exaggerated. And if
Right.
it does happen, I'm thinking that American men ain't going to be tolerating just random rapes.
Right.
You know what I mean? Because you get to choose who you live with in a penitentiary. See what I'm saying? If I don't want you on my block, believe me, you're not going to be there. So if there's a guy raping kids or doing that kind of stuff on your block,
Right.
your silence is your consent. So if you're against that, if that's not something you would be for, then you got some pull or some strength behind you in a penitentiary. They're not going to be on the block for long.
Yeah,
You feel
definitely.
me? Yeah, man.
Okay, you started hearing a bit about Christ in prison, or you had to get out of prison to really start delving into Christianity?
Well, funny enough, I had a friend of mine. I'm not going to say his name, but he got convicted of killing a cop,
Okay.
and he also shot and wounded the second one. So he got 2 life sentences. Um,
So he's never coming out.
yeah, bro. But he was okay with it. I'm not going to get into his story, but he smiled when he got convicted. He came back
Wow.
on the range, and he looked at me and just smiled. I was like, wow, I never seen anybody smile getting a double life sentence. And he was like, look, my life's over here, but it ain't over on the other side. So that's when he started kind of introducing me to the Bible and
Oh,
introducing me to the concept of God and Christ, and just read Revelations to me and kind of opened me up to the concept of there being a life after this.
okay.
And you know what I mean? Him and I became friends, and then he got transferred because he was a cop killer, right? So he got transferred, and when he was leaving, they goosed him out at about 4 o'clock in the morning, and gave him a personal escort up the road to the penitentiary. And so, but when they brought him out at 4 in the morning, it was kind of all undercover.
Right.
He stopped off at my cell and asked the coppers, if he could talk to me for a minute. So he woke me up and we had a nice chat. I'm not going to say what we talked about, but he gave me the stuff that he couldn't take with him. He handed it to me through the bars, and he said to me, he said, Ace, he was a Jamaican guy, by the way. He
Okay.
said, I met a lot of people in my life, he said, but I have never met a more spiritually connected white person in my life. He said, I am so happy to have met you. And off he went to do his double life sentence. So just to give you an indication of how
So
different people.
he really laid a solid one on you.
Well, yeah, he got me to think, bro. He was at peace. You know what I mean? And I don't know. It just really, really resonated with me that he knew Christ, like he knew God, and he was just kind of he didn't push it on me, but he was just kind of showing me that this world isn't the end. There's
It's
something else. You know what I
the
mean?
whole story, right?
Yeah, bro. So I just got hit hard with it, and um, that was pretty much the beginning for me on this particular journey. Yeah.
Okay, so you get out and you start going legit, right?
Well, yeah, I met a woman, my ex. I was I was doing my time, and I was calling somebody else on the phone to bring me some money, because that's what I did, Bruntel. And you know what I mean. And the Bell Canada operator had a real nice voice, so I started just kind of kicking it with her a little bit, talking about stuff, and she gave me her home phone number. And I was
You're a
with
good
her.
talker, man.
Well,
Of
yeah,
course.
come on, man. So I was with her for like 18 years. I got out and immediately
Wow.
went and started a life with her. And I just left her last year. The reason why I left her was we just ran out of time. Do you know what I mean by that? Like we were
No.
sitting 4 feet from each other. The kids were growing up, Everybody was off doing their thing. We had no more purpose left in each other. I love her. Don't get me wrong, but I loved her, and I would be willing to die for her, but I wasn't willing to live for her. Does that make sense?
Yes. Okay. So you wish to move on. Okay. Was she a Christian?
She believes in God in a different way. Like she believes in God. She believes in Jesus Christ. She's been saved, but she thinks that most of the Bible. She has her different take on it, which wasn't yoking with my personal beliefs. So that was another part of it that the Lord was just kind of showing me that I needed to move on in order to grow closer to my own purpose.
All right. Okay, Ran, what I'm looking for is like, okay, one day, okay, you went to sleep an atheist and you woke up a Christian, or what happened? I mean, what was the game change?
Well, I was never an atheist. I in the sense of what I now know what an atheist is.
All right.
You know what I mean?
Okay, just for our listening audience, go ahead and give us what is in your mind?
An atheist in my mind?
Yes.
I think there's three types of atheists. I think there's the atheist that doesn't believe in gods or any God, period. Thinks that you die and that's it, that's all. And I think he gets up and goes to work, comes home, and he's a decent man. He takes care of his family, watches a little bit of football, and goes to bed. I think the second tier of the atheist community is the atheist that does that, but as well wants to make a difference in politics, wants Christianity or religion to no longer be a part of society in the sense that it dictates political agendas.
All right.
Right? And then I think there's the third atheist, which would be in line with me as a fundamentalist Christian, that wants all religion gone and mocks and terrorizes anybody that believes in Christ.
Terrorizes.
Well, yes, I've been terrorized. Can't you
okay, anti-theists. Are we calling these anti-theists or atheists?
I call them anti-theists, and I would also go out on a limb and reference them as being somewhat reprobate.
Okay. So, Ran, I mean, you cracked open a Bible and that's when you converted, or you converted and then cracked open a Bible?
No. I had a friend in 2011, I guess 2011, he was coming by my house and talking to me. We'd be sitting by the pool out in the backyard, and then my other buddies would come over and roll their eyes because my friend, all he wanted to do was talk about Christ.
All right.
You know what I mean? So my buddies wanted to come over and have a few beers and
watch some porn and stuff.
Barbecue, yeah, bro. They wanted to barbecue, and they wanted the old me that was talking gangster stories and telling jokes and being that me who, contrary to what most atheists would think, I was extremely popular and well liked by anybody that was in my life. So they wanted me to be that guy. You know what I mean, bro? Sure. But I wasn't feeling that anymore in my life. As I was not feeling my wife at the time, I was starting to lose that. I was also starting to lose my interest in the world and just the temporal things that I found. Everything was so temporary in my life. So Cal, when he would come to me and talk to me about God and Christ, I didn't mind listening. Like my friends would be like, "Come on, Ran, let's go down." I go, "No, I'm talking to my friend." And they're like, "Man, why do you let him talk about Christ so much?" I go, "Well, I enjoy it. If you don't enjoy it, go sit over there. You don't got to sit at this table." You know what I mean?
So you're starting to turn.
Yeah, I was interested. I really saw a change in Cal because he was a drug addict and he had lost his wife. And, he was in the industry, in the promotional industry. And I seen him get back with his wife and get back in with God and accepted Jesus Christ. And I seen a huge change in him. He was no longer angry. He was no longer doing drugs. I mean, I just seen things. He just looked different to me. And whereas before, I'd be doing all the talking. Now he was doing all the talking. You know what I mean? And I wanted him to talk. I liked this Cal. I liked this new person he was.
Okay, just a quick interjection, Ran. Okay, yeah. Ran, did you ever have a drug problem, drinking a drug problem, or
never drinking? I had a huge cocaine habit in the 80s and 90s. I was I did a lot of cocaine back in those days. I mean, that was a part of the life I was in.
Okay.
I often said if you hung around me and didn't do cocaine, you were probably a cop and needed to be taken out back.
Right.
You know what I mean? So yeah, everybody in my life was in that. That was the lifestyle that we were living, right?
Okay.
So yeah, I had a huge addiction.
Your friend was just like that, but now he wasn't.
Now he wasn't. Now he was this different person, and I'm not even saying different in the sense of he was just different, bro. It was literally like somebody took their hand and wiped it over him, and now a new person was there.
A new person.
Yeah, and I was just like, wow, this is crazy. Like, how did you become? And he explained to me that, when he accepted Christ, it took him a while, but the Lord worked with him and changed his way of thinking and changed who he was, and he had became this, and he was nice. He was a super super nice guy now.
Okay,
and
so you started going to church, or you cut down on your views with them, or what?
Nope, I was involved with these Italian guys. I call them the pocket wops because they were short little Italian guys. You know what I mean? But they I was in business with them, and they tried to stiff me for some dough, and they got cops involved because they knew who I was. So they figured the right thing to do to protect themselves was to get the cops involved. So I got a phone call one night by the cops telling me, that I needed to stay away from them and blah blah blah. So I went and bought an aluminum baseball bat at Walmart. I put it in my car, my truck. Right. And I was going to go down there on Friday, and I was going to ball bat them in the parking lot of their building.
Okay.
I was doing it. There was no question. I wasn't trying to talk myself out of it. I had it done. I don't care. I had bail money. I told my woman, look, I'm going to go down and do something. I'm going to need you to come and bail me out. There's the money. I put it in the drawer. She said, what are you going to do? I said, it's not important. Just that's the bail money. When you get the call, just know you got to come down and bail me out.
Wow.
So I was going to go ball bat these guys. And I just bought a new truck. And I was weary of the truck because it was a big, F-250 and I was like, I wasn't really comfortable with it, right? Because I had been driving SUVs and I had an Acura TL at the time, so I was driving much smaller vehicles. So I got a little bit timid of the truck, or intimidated of it. I didn't want to go long distance. I lived about an hour and a half from Toronto at that time, right? So my friend Cal calls me and says, "What are you doing Friday night?" And I didn't want to tell him I'm probably going to be in jail.
Right. Yeah.
You know what I mean? I said, I'll be busy. Why? He goes, no. I bought tickets for a Promise Keepers meeting.
Okay.
Ted DiBiase, it's a men's Christian meeting. He said Ted DiBiase is going to be there. And Ted DiBiase, that's right, the $1 million man, right?
Right.
Which I loved him when I was, in the 80s. And so I was like, that kind of intrigued me. I'm like, oh. He said, why don't you come down? I got you a ticket. I said, well, no, I'm coming up with excuses, Bunto. I said, well, to be honest with you, I just bought a new truck, and I'm intimidated in driving it all the way down to the city at that time of night, blah, 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 blah. So I was trying to come up with excuses. And he goes, well, don't worry about it. I'll come pick you up. I go, well, but that means you're going to have to drive an hour and a half to my house, and then an hour and a half down there to do the meeting, and then an hour and a half back to my house, and then an hour and a half back home. That's 6 hours of driving alone. I said, no. I said, I'm not coming. He goes, well, I already bought your ticket.
Okay.
So then I started thinking, well, you know what? I'll just wait to ball bat these guys next week.
Right.
Like I can do it next week. You know what I mean?
Right. I mean, here's a real friend who wants your presence.
Well, it's not like I arranged a time to beat these guys up and they were going to be there waiting for me. You know what I mean?
You're not that.
Yeah, you know what I mean? It wasn't like I said, look, I'm going to ball bat you Friday night around 6:15. Do you mind meeting me in the parking lot? So it wasn't like it was a prearranged thing anyways. So I said to Cal, I said, all right, I'll come. So he came, picked me up, and we went down to this meeting. And I was blown away, Bunto. I've been in buildings with 10,000 men before, obviously, in being in jail. You know what I mean? I've been in the penitentiary. I've been in environments like that. But I didn't see what I saw when I walked in. It was like going to a hockey game. Have you ever been to a hockey game or a baseball game?
Yeah.
Basketball game, and when you get in the gates, it's like all of that energy and all of that excitement. You know what I'm talking about?
Yes.
It was that, but it was Christian men dancing and singing to a Christian band on the stage. And I've been a rock conscious in my life, bro. You know what I mean?
Uh-huh.
And I was like, wow, this is like crazy. So I was already a little bit taken back by it. And so anyways, we went up, got our seats and sat down, and Cal was just smiling and singing and laughing, and I was looking at him, and he's like, what do you think? I go, I'm just blown away, man. I can't believe there's this many men that would show up to something like this, and they're all happy. Like, I looked around, and Bunto, they were all happy. I'd never seen that many happy people at once.
Okay.
They weren't high or drunk, you know what I mean? And so I was like, wow, that's crazy. And then Ted DiBiase came on, and he told his story, and he was already a Christian, but he was living two lives, Bunto. He had his wrestling life, and in all that, when he was on the road, he was cheating on his wife, he was drinking, doing drugs, living that lifestyle. Then when he came home, he'd pretend to be the Christian man with his wife because they were Christians, and he'd go to church on the Sunday and blah, 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 and play that role. So he was living two lives. And his wife found out.
Right.
And he's telling his testimony, and he says his wife took all of his stuff and threw it on the street.
Yeah.
When he came back off the road, yeah, all his stuff was on the street, right? And he was like blown away. And it took about 2 or 3 weeks of him living in hotels without his wife to finally get their pastor to put them together to talk.
Okay.
And so I'm sitting there listening to him tell this story, and then he says something that literally I got the second punch in the face. Remember I told you my friend on the phone, right, in the joint. I catch this punch in the face. She says to him that the reason why they can't be together is because she believes he's not man enough to serve God.
Okay, challenge.
Wow, bro. I was like, what? I don't know why, but it sounded like she was talking to me. You know what I mean? Like I really felt in that moment that woman, because I've had women issues my whole life. My mother killed my father. I was in an orphanage where I was, abused by the women that ran the orphanage. I was in 22 group homes where the women in that orphanage treated me very poorly. I lived on the streets where all I had was prostitutes and strippers my whole life. I was in that life, you know what I mean? And
drug addicts, yeah.
Yeah, man, you know what I mean? So I didn't have a real good experience with women in my life, which will lead into some of this discussion, later part of the discussion. But so when she said that to him, I thought she said it to me, bro. I was like, you say it isn't man enough. You know what I've been through in my life? You're going to tell me?
Right. Challenge.
I'm not man. I'll show you who's man enough. And I got this overwhelming feeling to just get on my knees and give my life to the Lord. And I did it that night. And I'll tell you what happened, Bunto. I literally, and you're talking to a man that used to be extremely egotistical, and not that I'm not now, and I'm sure that there's people that are going to say I used to be, but I was 1,000 times worse, Bunto. I was a real proud man. Okay,
were you a violent man?
Yes.
Ran?
Yes.
Like you would lash out at people and hurt them.
Yeah, brother. I mean, a few years previous to that, on a New Year's Eve, I got buddies of mine that own a nightclub, and they had some heavy bikers. I'm not going to mention the club. You would know if I said it, obviously, but they came in and were trying to take over his nightcllub and charging him $10,000 a week.
Extort the guy.
Yeah, that's right. And so these are some Italian dudes, buddies of mine. They got a hold of me and asked me if I could do something about it. So I went and met with somebody very high up and took one of the club owners to this person's house. And in one phone call, the bikers laid off.
Yeah, protection.
Yeah, bro. My friend made a phone call, and it was done right then and there. And so I was able to go into this club anytime I wanted, obviously, you know what I mean, and preferential treatment. So I was in there on New Year's Eve, and a couple of tough guys, bodybuilder guys, were shooting their mouths off and looking at me all kind of weird. So I thought had a couple of drinks and some cognac in me. But I punched both of them out.
Yeah,
yeah, bro. And then all the bouncers raced over, and when they seen it was me, the bouncers were like, oh, Ace, are you okay? And my buddies were like, you just, knocked out two guys in this club. The bouncer's supposed to be taking you out, and they're asking you if you're okay.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Something crossed my mind real quick, Ran. Okay, you can tell, through your experience, almost instinctually when somebody's trying to play you, right? When somebody's trying to extort you.
Yeah, bro. Yeah, bro.
Do you ever hear from like your fellow Christians tell you, and then you realize that they don't realize that they're being played?
Yes, of course.
You know that they're being played, but they don't realize it.
No, they don't, because they're coming at you with a kind heart, and they haven't experienced that type of a play, that type of a con game in their life.
Extortion or some con, yeah.
Yeah, and I've been convicted of extortion twice in my life. So I understand extortion, and I also understand the fear of being extorted, because if you got some pull, bro, if you got something on somebody, you got some pull, or you catch somebody and get them afraid of you, most people will do anything, especially not to lose what they have. So I understood it, but that all ended. But the point that I was going to make you, Bunto, was that I had that in me in those days where I just didn't think I could be beaten. Don't get me wrong, I've been beaten many times in my life.
You're invulnerable.
Yeah, but I just had that about me that I didn't care. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So yeah, when I say that I'm a tough guy, I don't mean that I'm a tough guy because I can't be beat. I'm a tough guy because I've lived a life where I have been beat.
Right. That's a good point, Ran.
Yeah.
Okay, Ran, let's talk about being played, okay, and people that are trying to play other people.
Right.
Um, lately, you had an episode that started off your year. Yeah, you want to tell us about it? Would you like to?
uh, I'm assuming you're talking about Hillary.
Okay.
Is this what we're going to talk about now?
Correct, Amanda. Okay, let's talk about witch hunts. Okay, a
Right.
person takes it upon themselves to go after another person in our community, to destroy that person, uh, and get people behind them destroying. People are going to get behind the witch hunter to burn the person at the stake.
Right.
Okay, uh, what is the utility in that? I mean, would you go along with a witch hunt, or are you going to just say, hey, that's just another way of extorting or playing somebody?
Um, everything those types of things are intent, Brunto.
Okay, intent,
Yeah,
right.
there's always an intent. And you see, back in my criminal life, I wouldn't do anything if there wasn't money involved. If I wasn't getting paid, if there wasn't a financial gain,
Something in it, right.
you know what I mean? At least in the
Okay,
later years. In the earlier years, it's about reputation, right? You'll go punch out somebody for reputation, or you'll go do something for reputation. It's not always about the gain.
right.
Um, but what I found in life is that everybody has an intention.
Truly.
And I'll tell you my intention. My intention, and it may not seem like it, Brunto, but my intention is to get people to open up to the fact that what I believe is true.
Okay.
So I'm not always good at that, though. You know what I mean? Because I'm trying to get somebody to believe something that most not only don't believe, but some even actually hate. And it's
Okay.
really hard to get a child to eat something they not only don't want but actually hate. So
All right.
so it's a tough one where I'm coming from, but
Yeah.
that's
People
my
hate.
intention.
Okay.
That's my intention, though. I believe that your intention as an atheist is
Okay.
to try to find out the whys.
Fair enough.
I think you like people. I think people interest you, and I think that your intention is to get to know people, and I think that God will use that to open up, if not yourself, others to Him. So that's just my opinion.
Oh, but don't forget, Rand, people hate me too.
Yes, they do, because you're too nice.
I know. I think they just hate anybody. The God haters. They hate the God haters. But okay.
Yeah.
All righty. There's haters out there. We know you got them. I got them. And at the beginning of the year, a hater went after you. Why?
Um, okay, you're in October of last year, and I'm just going to get real open with you in a way that I've never been.
Please.
So I hope that you can appreciate this, and it's going to cause me even more hate and even more people lashing out at me.
Hey, but you want
Which
people to understand what the hell's going on, right? For once and
well,
for
I've
all.
never said anything. It's now been 6 months, and I've never said anything. So I'm going to explain it from my side. And then you can look in the middle and maybe there's some truth for somebody. But in October of last year, September, October, I happenstance to cross Hillary. I was in a hangout, and Alex Botten had sent her after me, is what
Hillary,
she told me.
Hillary Pugh.
Yeah, Alex messaged her privately and said, "Have you ever met RanCam Campbell?" And she said, "No." And he said, "Oh, this is a good one. You got to see him in this hangout. He's literally going off, and you've got to, because she's an atheist, he's an atheist." So she came in with the intention, again back to intention, of attacking me.
Sure.
And we started kind of talking in the comments section. And I said, well, you know what? If you want to talk to me, here's my Skype. And within seconds, there she was on Skype.
Okay, 1 second, Rand. Okay, you did this just for her, or you do this to a lot of people you meet?
A lot of people. I
Okay.
invite a lot of people to come talk to me on Skype.
Okay, you weren't trying to pie
No,
hunt.
no, no, no. I just wanted her, if she was going to attack me and put me in a position to defend myself, I would have rather done it privately.
Okay.
Not under my own videos. I don't like to get into those types of communications. Typically, I mean, I do, but I prefer if somebody will come private with me, or if I'm interested in talking to them privately, I give them the offer, and if they do, then for me it's a lot more comfortable. So
Fair
she
enough.
did. She did. She very quickly was on Skype with me. And I found her to be between all of us now, I guess. I found her to be very intriguing. I thought she was very smart.
Right.
I loved her laugh. I thought she was genuine. And I don't want to say this in a way that it's insulting, but I found her extraordinarily different.
Yes, I talk to Hillary all the time, and I'll concur with you. She is extraordinarily singular and different.
Much from anybody I'd ever met. And I liked that about her. I really, really genuinely liked that Hillary was not typical of anybody, not male or female, that I had ever met.
Truly.
Right? So I really genuinely liked her. And we got closer and closer.
Yes.
And we played. I mean, I believe that we both played. There was nothing that was ever going to come from any of our communications in the respects of actually meeting or having a relationship. I think that.
Well, okay, let me ask you.
Yeah.
Honestly, nothing was going to come from it.
I never thought so, no.
Okay.
I'll tell you, to be honest with you, I was at a very dark stage in my life. I was very lonely. I was very, I was missing my family and my wife. I hadn't spoke to anybody in months. My in-laws, my ex, her son, my dogs, my cat. When I left, I packed up my clothes and never looked back. And it was not long before me meeting Hillary that I got a communication from her that she was putting my dog down, or that had put my dog down. So I was really not in a good place at the time. So Hillary kind of came in and made me smile and laugh at a time where, to be honest, I appreciated her, because I was very, very angry in those moments. I was very angry with God.
All right.
And I was sitting in my truck and yelling out my window at him. I mean, I was literally very discouraged with God and very upset that I had lost everything.
Was God answering you or no?
No.
He wasn't talking to you.
No, there was nothing. He wasn't talking to me through anybody. I wasn't looking to my left and seeing a sign of a happy face on a wall that would lead me to believe that he wanted me to just be happy. He didn't. There was no explanations for me, being in the state that I was in. And I said to Shani, ironically enough, I was on the phone.
Okay, Shani, for Christ. Okay, how does she fit in?
We're about to bring her into this.
Okay, please.
I said to Shani, I had done a video that I'm no longer a Christian. And I did that from my truck sitting in a parking lot just after I yelled and screamed at God. And it wasn't that I was no longer a Christian. I was just no longer able in my heart to be a Christian, if that makes sense to you. It's like a hockey player that goes into a serious slump, or a basketball player goes into a serious slump, and nothing they do is right, nothing they do is good, and they just keep failing and they keep failing and they keep failing. They're still a basketball player, but in their heart, they don't feel like it.
Okay, you broadcasted out your turmoil, and she noticed it, caught it.
Yes, she caught it. So we talked privately on Skype, of which Shani and I used to talk all the time. I love Shani. To this day, I still love Shani. And we had many, many private conversations. And I explained to her. She asked me what that was about, and I said to her that I'm going down the rabbit hole. What I mean by that is that I was going to piss God off and go down as far as I could away from him as possible. And I was going to challenge whether or not I was a Christian.
What'd she say?
She said that it was dangerous and that I shouldn't do it, and why would you do that? And I said, I'll be okay. I'll come out of it. I just need to just be alone. And I'll tell you something else that I've never publicly said. And I have a couple of Christians that I would authorize to verify this. And even a couple of other people that I had mentioned this to at that time. I had contemplated suicide, Bunto.
Okay, that low. You fell that low.
In October, yes. In October, I literally was so depressed and so distraught over my life that I was literally questioning whether or not I even cared to continue. and
Okay,
I
you
was
felt this way
contemplating.
previously in your life, or just right now is
No, just then, never
the
before.
needle hit zero right now?
Yeah, brother. I just had enough with and if I could walk you through my whole life, some would say it's a miracle it took that long. But I was literally so depressed and so distraught that my hate wasn't even good enough anymore. The hate didn't even feel good at that point. I just literally wanted to end everything.
Okay, so then what happened?
Well, that was also during the time that I was communicating with Hillary. So, like I said previous to that, she used to make me laugh, and I found her very
Yeah, she was the
entertaining. And
one bit of sunshine in your life,
she
right?
was that little bit of sunshine, bro. She was that moment where I looked forward to having somebody to talk to that actually made me smile. And but then things went sour. You know what I mean? Like Hillary's a
Oh,
very strong person in the sense that she has her demands and she has rules.
yes.
And if you cross her, she doesn't have it in her to forgive as most people might. And I don't mean that as a
Well,
slight.
I would say this, Rand, she is slow to forgive because I've been at loggerheads at least two or three times with Hill, but we've made up.
Right.
You know what I mean? I know what you're talking about, Hillary, the anger and the argument issues. I know what you're talking about.
Yeah, and I was also in a bad place as well. So the second you take me there in those moments, um, I'm gonna lash out too. So it wasn't a good place for either one of us. I don't think.
Okay, the chemistry
Um,
was bad.
yeah, because I was also still in a dark place. Although I don't want to use this phrase in a demeaning way, but I used her
All right.
to bring some levity or some joy to my life in those moments. And when I
Okay,
say
did
I
you tell her
used
that,
her,
Rand? Did you tell her that? Hey, hey, baby, I'm using you.
no, no, I
Okay.
I, I spoke to her like a pimp would speak to his hooker,
Okay.
and she caught on to that very quickly. She's a very smart
Okay,
woman.
was that like a reaction, a reflexive move on your part that, you just couldn't let her in to all the hurt, so you had to treat it like,
Well, yes, of
like a
course, of
client?
course. It's
Yeah,
that it's that pride again. You know what I mean? You
right.
get that male pride that don't forget. I'm at the very bottom of my life right now, and the last thing I want to do is expose that to a woman, considering I've
Right.
never had anything relationship wise decent with a woman in my life. I've
Like,
never had a mother. You know what I mean?
I'll
So
tell you, the guys like me and you, Rand, have problems with weakness, like
yeah,
showing it and
yeah,
dealing with it.
yeah, man.
Okay, so, okay, how did it unravel between you and Hillary?
Well, it happened very quickly. She thought she heard me on a phone call with some woman, of which to this day
Oh,
I still don't know what that is. She says that now I was going in and helping a friend of mine build the sales room, and I was talking to several people during the day, and I guess I rang her accidentally on my phone, pocket dialed her, and she heard me talking to somebody. She had made mention of it, and I didn't know what she was talking about, and that didn't go over well. And then we just started talking to each other in ways that was going to be unrepairable. And in those communications, I just went into full troll mode
okay.
of being an a-hole and talking to her in ways that were not only disrespectful as a human being and as a man, but most certainly unbecoming of a Christian.
Okay, if you could take that back, would you?
Oh, of course. Of course. Of course. Nobody should talk to anybody like that. Least of all, a Christian man.
Okay. How did you explain this to God?
I just he knew, you know what I mean, that I was in a real bad place, and he was just letting me be there. He was
Okay,
you see
God was letting you
because
be.
but now I started talking to somebody else as a friend about my situation and how I felt and where I was, and they explained to me that God uses humiliation to find humility, and that's exactly what happened. Is that the next thing I knew is that it was all out in the open, and I was being humiliated, you know,
Okay.
in order to be humbled.
All right. So, all right. Let's tell our listening audience how exactly you're humiliated. Apparently, Shani for Christ got a hold of the electronic interactions you had with Hillary and put them out on a video?
Well, what happened was, in that week,
Okay.
I turned on my computer and I seen a bunch of Christians, Shanny being one, what I believe an open, how should I put it, a lynch mobbing of Brett Keane.
Okay, they were going after Brett Keane.
Yes, publicly. And I was on the Skype call with Brett, and I said, Brett, I'm going to ask you a question because I'm about to do something I don't typically do. But I want to ask you, are you a Christian? Do you believe that Jesus Christ died on that cross and that you are saved, and he was God wrapped in the flesh and resurrected on the third day?
Right.
And he goes, yes. I go, okay, I'm going to consider you a brother in Christ. And I cut the call and went into that hangout and laid into all of them.
Okay, so you went to his defense.
That's right. Well, I already knew that Hillary hated Brett. She told me that on numerous occasions.
Okay.
But I didn't. Now, after I went in there and did that, I didn't really think anything of it. But then Shanny took offense to it, and I think Hillary witnessed it.
Okay.
And saw an opportunity to partner up with Shanny and show Shanny that I wasn't a Christian by some of the statements that I had made. Well, one being, I'm not a Christian, she said, Rand isn't even a Christian for him to be coming in. However, I don't know their private conversation, but I'm assuming that Hillary offered her the noose to hang me.
Now, you see how it all, kind of dovetails back with what you were saying about women earlier? See, now it's women.
Yeah, of course.
Coming back on you. Okay, so keep going, please.
So Shanny gets motivated to take the noose and to hang me because of what I did to her publicly. And after Shanny's a very vulnerable human being in the sense that, she doesn't really allow for explanations. She just sees black and she sees white, and she determines the intent and the outcome from what she sees, and she doesn't really kind of.
Oh, right. Well, looking at what she did as sitting in the audience, did she do it right? I mean, would you said, oh, yeah, or she could have hung the person better.
Well, her and I talked privately before she did it. She said she was going to do it.
Oh, okay. So she gave you warning. Okay.
Yeah. She, and so did Hillary. And I told them both, do it. I don't care.
All right. Pretty ballsy.
Yeah, I was like, whatever. I don't care. Do it. And so, of course.
Publishing be damned.
Exactly. I was like, yeah. I mean, if you feel that's what you want to do, I'm not going to stop you. Do what you want to do, and the two of them did.
Okay, and then what happened? The shoe dropped. You started feeling repercussions.
Well,
you came out with a video where you choked up.
Well, yeah, I just because I did feel bad, because I don't think what Hillary realized is that she also didn't make herself look that good neither. Do you know what I mean?
Okay, so you felt for Hillary.
I felt like it was a lot for her to have to go through. I felt it was a lot for Shanny to have to go through because Shanny loved me. A week before Shanny did this, and it's still on her channel, she did a video saying, I have a Rand crush. Oh. And was calling me, Rand, where are you? I love you, Rand, you know what I mean? And then she does this to me. So Shanny did love me. I mean, Shanny was my friend. I think Shanny really, really had a great deal of respect for me. And I think that I lost that respect based on what she saw in the private communications I had with Hillary. So I also felt bad for Shanny that she had lost a very good friend in me because regardless of what people think about me, I'm a good friend to have. I'm a very strong friend for people. I've got a lot of experience in my life that I can give people some pretty good wisdom and some pretty good answers to some pretty tough questions. I've helped a lot of my friends get their children off drugs. I've taken over 23 men into my home over the past 15, 20 years where I brought people in to help them get off the streets and get jobs and get their lives together. So as a human being, I know that Shanny lost a very good friend.
Okay, well, let me clue in our audience to what happened.
Yeah.
Okay, a lot of people rose to your defense.
Yes.
And they put it to Shanny.
Yes.
Was that orchestrated or was that organic?
That was organic, bro.
Okay.
You
They
see,
just got tired of. They really didn't like what Shani was doing.
well, it wasn't right. It really had nothing to do with her. I mean, seriously, it was between Hillary and I. It was a private, behind-the-scenes involvement that Hillary and I had that should have never been made public. But okay, it was, and people, were very attracted to it, and they're still attracted to it. Hillary threatening to put more conversations out, and
Yes.
Captain Osimo is begging her daily. Come on,
It was,
where's
yeah, a
where's the
salacious witch hunt.
yeah, they just because and I don't mean this to be
Well,
arrogant, but I'm a big ticket in this
right. You were
community.
on a definite upward trajectory,
Yeah,
and all of a
so
sudden the takedown came at the beginning of the year.
yeah, so they figured they were going to ruin me, but what they didn't realize is that people that really know me, the Raws, the Veckles, the G-Mans, the Brett Keens, the Iron Crosses, the Sabellas. I mean, Tommy Hall, Sam, Pillbox. These people know my heart, bro. I mean, when they talk to me, and Shani knows my heart too. They know who I am. They know the passion I have for God. They know the passion I have for what I'm talking about.
Okay, okay, the way it looks to me, Shani wanted you to pay the price, but it ended up that she had to pay the price. She got ostracized.
Well, she can't be trusted now, unfortunately.
That's right. Absolutely correct.
Because you took a private conversation against a brother in Christ, whether you believe that's true or not.
Right.
And you publicly displayed it for an atheist.
Veckel had a hangout about that. Forgiveness and I get some Christian dirty laundry. Who knows?
Well, it's Matthew 18 that you take it privately and then you take it to the brethren and then you make it public. But you see what Shani doesn't understand is that she wasn't calling me out on something I did publicly. She was calling me out on something I did privately.
Right.
That's a different thing, bro.
Okay, you don't think Shani's learned from this, or?
I think Shani's. Again, I love Shani. And her husband Chris. I love the two of them. And I mean that. I'm not just saying that as a Christian. Even if I wasn't a Christian, just in how I know them as people, I have a real kindred feel to them that I really, really do like them as people. But unfortunately, when you do things like that, brother, there's a healing process, and I think that she's in a better place for herself in a sense, but now she has to, unfortunately. She's in the friend zone with a lot of the mockers that hate me, and she finds herself in that same place that I believe Fiona is in, and that same place that Gary Phony Beetle Maniacs is in.
All right.
Where once you are in the friend zone, and we all know what that means, it's very hard to preach the gospel to those people because that's the last thing they want to hear. It's like if you like a girl and you want to be in a relationship with her and then you end up in the friend zone, it's pretty hard to go to ask her out or to, tell her that you want more than a friendship. You see what I'm saying? So she's now in the friend zone with these atheists, and she has been stripped of her ability to bring anybody to Christ, and she's been stripped of the ability to preach the gospel. So I think that's where she's hurting.
It's interesting the way you say it that way. Okay, did any of your friends put you on notice for your private activities after this?
No.
Do you think they should have?
No.
You think it would have been natural for them to say, hey, man, come on, you can't be...
They didn't have to because they already knew my remorse. They didn't have to come to me and say anything because I already came to them and told them. And I had already, and as I said back in October, I had already spoken to most of them and explained to them that I was going through a rough time. I told G-Man. I told a couple of my friends sitting in that truck that I was considering committing suicide. And I spent hours on the phone with two guys in this community that just kind of, walked me through how wrong that would be as a Christian. So they already knew and they already knew my heart anyways. They
Okay,
knew
so
that I
like
was a very
nobody
remorseful
just
guy.
said, Rand, you can't be calling a woman your hoe. Nobody told that to you.
No, no, because they know that I was already remorseful. I had already
All right.
come to them and told them that you're going to see a side of me I didn't want you to see. I just want you to know that I wasn't in my right place when I did this, and I apologized beforehand. They were already like, Rand, come on, you can't do no wrong for us. We know that you're with God. We know that you're saved. We know
Okay,
that you love the Lord. You
those
know
are
what I
the
mean? So,
Christians, right?
yeah,
Okay, let's suppose you were an atheist and this happened to you.
right.
And then like somebody like Green Soul Sufi or even me would have said, well, Rand, you did we love you and you got your fingers burned, but you can't be calling a woman a hoe. And kind of explain to you that like that's an insecurity, Rand. Insecurities bubble up and you want to reduce a person to like a subhuman status.
Well, exactly.
That's how, happens to me. It's how it's been done to me. Somebody treat me like a hoe. But I mean, so that's the difference, right? The Christian wouldn't tell you that it was bad to call a woman a hoe, but maybe us, the atheists and the psychoanalysts among us, would have said, "Well, Rand, let's tell you why that's not good to do because it takes the relationship in a bad way, right?"
Well,
See
it's
what I mean?
not so much that. Yeah, I know exactly what you're saying. You guys would be a lot more blunt about it and a lot more straight edge, like boom, that's wrong, boom, that's right, boom, that's wrong. Whereas, my Christian brothers and sisters, um, they already know me. You know what I mean?
Right. They
Right.
know you.
They know me enough they just have to just kind of look at me and they know that I know, and they didn't have to correct me. I
Okay.
corrected myself in their presence.
Has there been any reconciliation with Hillary since?
Oh gosh, no. Oh gosh, no. No, she
Okay.
hates. She absolutely hates me.
Would you like there to be some sort of reconciliation?
I don't think it's necessary. I really don't. I think that she's okay without it,
Okay.
and and
That
and
she's moved on.
and
You've
I just
both moved on.
I just want her to be okay. I don't need reconciliation for myself. Um, and even if I did, it wouldn't matter. I mean, at the end of the day, she doesn't need it, and she's okay. And so I just want her to be okay. I just want to leave it there that she's okay.
Okay, let's say the inner voice comes to you and says, "Okay, Rand, did you learn your lesson, or you got to learn it again?" What would you say?
Oh, I'm far from there. I listen, bro. I lived a lot of years in a state of hate, and I also lived a lot of years where I dwelled and lived in wanting to be hated. You know what I mean, Bruntel? Which is
All right,
it's
fear,
different.
right?
I just wanted people to hate me. I wanted them to fear me. I wanted them to dislike me. I wanted them to stay away from me.
Okay,
You know what I mean? But I wanted them around me. I still wanted to attract them to me, but I wanted them to stay in my circle, but hate me, but be
right.
afraid to say it. You know what I mean?
Okay.
But not be open about
Now you're definitely in a different lifestyle
it. Mm-hmm.
because you're going to go and minister to the homeless and talk to people in prison,
Mm-hmm.
write books. I mean, so now you've got to learn, how to minister to people,
How to talk? Yeah.
how to talk
Uh,
to them.
without it being fake, because I'm a very good salesman.
Well, it's not
Um,
so much fake, but that you realize that you have that capacity to like really, you know, dehumanize or hurt somebody. Now it's
mhm.
like, hey, I'm going to go 180 degrees the opposite. I'm going to build you up.
Yeah, and it's tough, bro. It's like it's like, have you ever gone mudding, like, 4-wheel driving in the bush and
Now I've seen it, but yeah,
okay,
it's
well,
fun.
yeah, it's fun, but it's sometimes the vehicle wants to do its own thing,
Right.
and you're trying to get it to do what you want it to do, and it's a lot of work. And,
Okay,
and
well let's have a quick. Okay, I just want to ask you about weak people. I mean, do you
mm,
have an automatic disgust for weak people, or are you willing to, I think I'm going to help a weak person. Is that good or bad, or tell me? I mean, if they're weak,
I
they're always going to be weak, or what?
no, I honestly I have always been the guy to I love the underdog, bro.
Yeah, I love the underdog. I
Yeah,
think I
I
can help
always
people, heal them.
yeah, that's what I'm the guy that even when I was in a joint, bro, I never allowed anybody to muscle anybody. The coppers would put people on my block knowing that they couldn't get muscled on my block. What I mean by that is that, there's a lot of tough guys in the joint that,
Right, they'd be
they just
eaten
muscle
alive.
people. Yeah, they just muscle people. You know what I mean? They put them in a corner. They bag them up. They take their stuff. They threaten them. You know, they extort them. You know what I mean? And
American, they make them have sex. I mean, it's
you know that they don't go that far in Canada, but I certainly don't allow that. You know what I mean? On my block, that would not be permitted. So the cops would put people on my block knowing that I'm going to take care of those people.
Some people take advantage of the weak. You don't.
No. I actually find that to be. It's kind of like when I see people go after Jason Burns here in this community,
right?
Go after G-Man. Not that G-Man's weak, but admittedly he's such a nice guy. G-Man is such a nice guy.
Okay.
That he's just an easy target. And I know that some people don't believe he's a nice guy. I mean, he's got his faults and everything, but G-Man, I believe, is a really nice guy.
Okay.
So
okay, you're in a relationship with a weak person. Do you ever get the urge to smack them down? Sometimes that comes out in my relationships. I do it unconsciously. You know, it's sort of like I just will kind of like have a reaction to their weakness. You know, and then I realize it afterwards, and then I'll apologize or I'll try to make amends for it. Well, because it's like weakness to me sometimes is repellent. That's what I'm trying to get at.
Yeah, bro. Well, for me, it's like what made me tough. What made me tough was the beatings I took as a kid.
Yeah.
I mean, I was left in a pool of blood at the age of 7, beaten almost to death until one of the staff finally said, "We got to stop. We're going to kill him." And that didn't make me weak. It made me strong, bro. So yeah, I'll get those moments where I think, rather than coddle or hug somebody, say, I'm not much of a hugger, bro. I'm not much of one of these, and that's why my Christianity comes out so harsh. I'm not the turn the other cheek kind of guy, and I'm certainly not the cookies and ice cream Christian that's going to sit there and tell you all about the lovey-dovey-dovey, kissy-kissy.
Betty Crocker.
Yeah, bro. I want to tell you about I want to be the hellfire guy. I want to let you know that, there's some tough stuff coming in the future, and you need to get right with God. There's but one way through to the gates, and that's through Christ. And I want to just give it to you in a way that I believe I can give it to you.
Okay, I'll give you that. Well, I'll go ahead and give you that, Ram. But let's call this internet relationships, okay?
Right.
I mean, how serious should internet relationships get? Okay.
Well, I've never been in love in my life, bro. I have never, ever been in love in my life.
That's incredible, Ram.
Ever. I have never been in love because I just can't do it.
Okay, it will make you vulnerable.
Yeah, I can be in lust. And where I can't be in love, I make up for it in lust. I can be intrigued. I can be in a moment with somebody, but I can't be in love, bro. I mean, I can walk away from any human being quick and in a hurry. 30 seconds flat and I'm done. I've never been in love.
Well, what about your marriage?
No, 19 years, I was never in love with her, bro.
Okay.
No, I was not in love with her. I had a great deal of admiration for her. She was cute as heck. She was funny. She made me smile. She was, for the most part, a decent human being, but I was never in love with her, no.
Okay. What happens if you let somebody in to touch your heart, Ran? You feel defenseless?
I don't know. I've never allowed it, but I
Okay.
see it.
What do you think of AIDS? HIV, AIDS. Scares you to death?
Oh, for real, bro. Who won that?
Okay, some Christian brother comes up to you and says, okay, we're going to the AIDS hospice and we're going to mingle and preach the word. I mean, you get scared?
Yeah, of course. I'd want to make sure that I wasn't going to catch anything. And I already know enough with AIDS that, I'm not going to catch it by talking to somebody with AIDS. So
you go to sleep and you have a dream. God says, hey, guess what, Ran? I want you to go minister to lepers, AIDS. Have fun.
Well,
I mean, you do what God tells you, or are you?
Well, I'm going to first of all ask God if this is some kind of a weight loss program. No pun intended. I mean, I do what God asks.
I mean, God wants you to do something you fear. He wants you to be vulnerable.
Yeah, I do what God asks, bro. This is vulnerable. God wants me to have this talk with you.
Okay.
So for me, this is as close to me being in a uncomfortable, vulnerable situation as what I would deem, talking to leopards or going into an AIDS hospice and talking to AIDS victims, of which I'm not against, brother.
Right.
Although I think my calling is more, street level, homeless, what I would redeem as being the helpless. Those are the people that God's calling me to talk.
Okay, to be a Christian, you have to be vulnerable to things that
absolutely
terrorize you.
Absolutely, you have to surrender, and surrender is hard. You know what I mean?
Okay.
Especially, in my life as a bad guy, my motto was I'd rather be wanted than had. I'd rather the cops be looking for me with a dragnet and guns out than to walk into a police station with my hands up. I would rather be wanted than had. So, as a Christian, you got to surrender. There is a surrender that comes.
Can God help you have a loving relationship? Yes or no?
If it's in His will, yes.
What do you think?
Yes, it's not in His will for me. No.
Would you ask Him?
No, I don't want to be in love, and I don't want to be with a woman ever again in life. I truly have come to a place now where I'm going to be single. That's it. I just want to dedicate myself to some projects that I'm working on, my book being one. I have another major project that I'm working on, and I want to dedicate myself to my grandkids and my children, and I don't want to bring a woman into my life. I just don't.
Okay. Well, how about internet relationships just in the general? Platonic. You enjoy them? I mean, you have a lot of friends online?
No.
No.
I find them to be silly in a sense.
Okay.
Right. I find them to be. I mean, well, I've seen some good ones. I mean, I just seen Kate. What's her name? Jackie. And her boyfriend Kevin meet on the internet, and I seen them together for the first time in a hangout, actually together. And it was warming. It was like, well, that's cute. You know what I mean? Good for them.
Well, how about like just somebody you say hello to every day? You got that?
No.
Somebody you say, hey, what's going on? I have lots of platonic girlfriends. Even though I'm homo, I have lots of platonic girlfriends that I, say hello to every day and, talk that way.
No, I don't have anybody. And I truly don't want anybody neither.
Okay, you think that would just get too involved?
I'm not. I'm 55 years old this July, Brunto, and I'm literally to a point now where I've done all that relationship stuff. I just came out of a very long relationship where I raised another woman's child.
Wow.
I've had a ton of women in my life that have come and gone, and I just don't have it in me to learn anybody anymore. I don't want to learn another person. I want to learn me. I want to figure out.
First, you want to get your own ducks in a row, and then.
Well, we'll see. I mean, I say that I don't want to be with anybody, but the truth of the matter is that I'm what I would bring to the table in a relationship would be a bag of broken stuff. So.
Okay. Well, let me switch tables here. Okay, and you be okay. I'll tell you my story. Okay. I do a lot of internet relationships, right?
Right.
And I don't know if you know this person. What's his name? Kazumi Fowler?
Yeah, I like it. Yeah, Kazumi, yes.
Okay, so I got in an internet relationship with him.
Okay.
And I thought, I could help change his life, and I gave him a lot of affection and love. And, the short end of that story is he went ahead and dropped me like a radioactive potato and started telling lies to other people that I was married with kids and not homosexual, all of which are failures, right?
Okay.
And on my part, Ran, I felt like I was trying to reach out and help somebody, trying to puff somebody up from being a weakling, right? And it blew up in my face. So tell me, do you have to be strong out of the kit, out of the box, or can you make a man out of a worm? All your expertise.
No.
And I'll tell you what my girlfriend's told me.
Yeah, you can't make somebody. You can't make
That's right.
something they're not. They're going to be what they're going to be, bro.
They told me I told you so, Bunto.
Never. Yeah, they're going to be what they're going to be, bro. They're just, Brunto, at the end of the day, you're going to see somebody, you're going to want to build them up, and you're going to want to make them a better this or a better that, but it's going to have to be in them.
Right.
You know what I mean? And you could build something in somebody that's already there, but you can't put something into somebody that doesn't exist. It's like you can't wake up a sleeping lion that doesn't exist.
Is there anything in the Bible about that? About you know, not fooling yourself in that way? Because I fooled myself.
Well, it states that all things are possible through God.
Right.
So what does that mean? I think that all things are possible in the will of God, that if it's in His will that you should be or have or be a part of something, I believe that yes, that all things are possible. But I think that when you are looking for expectations in another human being, that you're going to you're going to create this thing that you want. If it's not in them to be that, it's not going to happen. I think that that's where a lot of us fail. You see, most people are broken, Bunto. We live in a broken world. Humanity is so broken, bro. Like, we're all broken. That's the one thing that all religions, even atheism, will at least admit to, is that humanity's pretty broken. Humanity's pretty broken.
Right.
We're pretty broken. And I found that the only way that we can repair, at least to a point in this life, that for myself personally could make this even livable, is to give it to Christ and surrender to Him. That was my
solution.
That was my cure. I can't fix me. You're not going to fix me. You're not going to fix Kazume. Kazume's not going to fix you. I mean, we're just not going to be able to fix each other because we're all just so broken.
Good point. Okay, well, let's go ahead and, jump the tracks here. And you posted a warning about September 23rd to a lot of reprobates, over 10, I imagine, right? People like Captain Osimo, Bot, myself. Okay, what's the story behind that, please?
Okay. A German chancellor made a very, very serious statement publicly, and I would have to find it to give it to you, the link. But he said that in 500 days, an event is going to take place that is going to be a climatic change so drastic that the world will not be the same. And it will be a climate change. Now, climate change could mean anything. I could walk into the room and change the climate of a room,
all right.
You know what I mean, just by being ignorant. So what does he mean by that? I'm not 100% certain, but I do know that when you count 500 days from the day he said it, it ends on September 23rd. Ironically, that is also the day of the fourth blood moon of this year.
Oh,
which is very
significant. Sort of mystical significance there.
And Yom Kippur as well. It's one of the feast days, biblical feast days. As well, if you look on the internet and just Google, or go into YouTube and just Google Visions September 23rd and look at all of the people that have had visions about those particular days of September 23rd, you will see that it's not just something I made up.
Okay, Rap, what's going to happen on September 23rd, please?
What do I think is going to happen?
Yes.
I think we're going to be in a full-blown world war. I think it's already started. Yeah, I think that the world climate, because it was a world climate he was talking about, and I think that we're going to be, I think that things are starting to heat up now over in Russia and with Syria, and I think Iran and Israel. I think North Korea is on the edge of their seats. Obviously, America has sent some troops over there. UN has been seen with military vehicles riding the borders of Russia. I think that there's a lot of things happening that we're unaware of, but I think these things are all par for the course.
Okay, this is the tribulation we're talking about.
The beginning of something. I don't know that it's the tribulation.
Is there going to be a rapture?
Some people believe that. I don't believe that. I'm not here for a rapture. I've already had a vision that I'm here during military takeovers.
Oh, that's interesting. When did you have this?
Last year.
All right.
Yeah, I dreamt.
Okay, I'll just jump over all that. I just want. Okay, I'm dying. I die, right? I got to go in front of I got to go in front of Jesus. I got a lot of explaining to do, right? Or none. That's it.
If you don't, I do it this way, bro. If you have one piece of confetti, and that piece of confetti represents sin, right?
Right.
Are you going to be, according to the Bible, according to what we know about heaven and judgment and Christ and God and Are you, if you died with that in your possession, unforgiven, and you have never accepted Jesus Christ, your Lord and Savior, can you get back through the gates and hide it from God? Of course you can. But we all have a bag of confetti. We have a bag of sin. And the only way that it can be forgiven is in this part, this side of Revelation. Once you cross over, all bets are off. You're not getting rid of any sin on the other side. You're holding on to it. And all sin has to go to the fiery pits. And if you're holding on to it, you're going with it.
Okay, dude, I show up with homosexuality, telling all my friends there's no God, you know, making fun of Christians. I've had it, right?
That's right.
Okay. I was talking to Adam Pugh, and he told me if I just, you know, even before I got all that, before I got to, I could say, hey, I didn't understand what you were saying, God, so I couldn't follow your will, that I would already be disqualified because I put myself apart from God. What do you think of that?
Well, yes, sin separates us from God.
Okay. The reason, you know, I did something to hurt other people, so that put me apart from God.
That's right.
I mean,
but you're already apart from God.
Okay.
We come here separated from God.
Okay, right off the bat, we're separated.
Right off the bat. And that's why through Jesus Christ, He is the only path. He is the only way, the truth, and the light back to God. You're not getting back to the Father unless you come through Jesus Christ, unless He represents you.
Just to clarify, Rand, I'm talking to Jesus, right?
Right.
Okay, because there's these Christians that don't believe Jesus is God.
Well, then they haven't been taught correctly.
You know what? That's what I mean. I brought it. They're non-Trinitarians, right? That's a kind way of saying Jesus isn't God, right? I'm a non-Trinitarian. That's a very nice way of saying, you know, Jesus isn't God. And I say, well, you know, they take pains in the Bible to say that Jesus is God. What's your explanation? And, you know, then we go around the, you know, the cherry tree with that. But, you know, just to clarify, and, you know, in your thinking, my thinking, you know, it's Jesus who I'm talking to, right? To explain myself.
You're gonna like my answer, and if you don't like it, somebody in the Christian community is gonna give a big amen. If they were in a real relationship with Christ, they would know He was God.
Okay, that's a very good point. All right. So anyway, people like Botten and me, we better get on our knees before the 23rd, and, you know, tell the truth to everybody that Jesus is God.
My Bible says that all knees will bend and all tongues will confess. So I don't know what that means. I mean, I was at a Bible study last night, and the pastor was saying that what that means is that even if it's too late, they're gonna know.
Okay.
So what I'm hoping is, and I mean this sincerely, I'm hoping that people come to realize that we are spiritual beings living a physical experience here. When you see a Corvette drive down the road with tinted windows,
right,
you don't ever say to the guy next to you, oh, look at that car driving all by itself. Yeah, you automatically know, Bunto, that somebody's driving that vehicle, right?
Right.
Now, if you're watching a vehicle and it gets into an accident and ends up in a ditch and is all, you know, on fire, do you race down there to make sure the car is okay? Or do you looking to save what's ever in the car?
Right, what's inside.
You're the driver, right?
Right.
Well, that's what I'm talking about. In you is a driver. Although you can't see it, there is a driver inside you. That is what God's concerned about. He's concerned about the driver of this vehicle called Bunto.
Okay.
So when you end up in that ditch, God's not looking to save your flesh. He's not looking to save your pretty blue eyes and your curly hair.
Yeah, my sexy body.
You're not looking for that, you know, that RanCam Campbell, 265 pounds of twisted steel and sex appeal. You know what I mean?
I love it.
Yeah, bro. What he's looking to do is he's looking to save that thing in me that's driving this thing.
All right. Okay, just my last question here, Rand. Before we ran out and ask participants to come in. Okay, who's worse, me or Botten?
You're both equal.
We're both oh wow! I just wanted to edge him out.
But here's the good news: I'm no better than the two of you. Now, have you asked me this question? Who do you prefer, Rand? It would be you.
Thanks, Rand. That's great. Well, I'll tell you what. I'm going to go ahead and open up the the show to our participants, and I'm going to take a quick break for us to go to the restroom and so forth. It was this. Thank you very much for this interview, Ran. It was enlightening. We'll be back in a second. Take care.
Hey, Bunto.
Hey, how you doing? Just sending out invites. Welcome to the show, Saka. How have you been?
Pretty good. Pretty good. Can't complain.
Saka, you know RanCam, right?
Yes. Yes, I do.
Yes.
How are you doing, man?
I'm all right. I wanted to ask you, are you Canadian?
I am.
Wow, I saw that the other day. And you're in Ontario.
I am in Toronto.
I'm in Toronto.
I know.
That's crazy. I had no idea you were a Torontonian.
Well, not originally. I'm actually from the West Coast. I've just been here for the last couple of years.
Oh, have you? Yeah, I was in Vancouver back in '91. I love the West Coast. My daughter's actually living in Calgary right now.
Well, that's cool. That's cool. My sister lived in Calgary for a while, but even she moved out to the West Coast, and I'm not going to be in Toronto for much longer. I'm going to be moving back out there this summer.
Well, apparently, according to my daughter, there's been no snow out there.
In Calgary,
Vancouver. Calgary had a little bit, but it's been pretty nice in Calgary. 16.
Oh yeah, yeah. Vancouver barely gets anything. It's just same thing with the island. That's if you get a snowfall over the course of the winter, it's been a bad winter.
Exactly. Yeah, I kind of missed that part. Like I said, I was there in '91. I remember going and picking up a Christmas tree in shorts and a T-shirt.
Yeah.
Well, that's good. So you're in Toronto, all right? Yeah, I'm actually in Mississauga.
Yes.
What's this here, buddy, showing? Description, slaughter, what?
Oh, what?
What is
It's
it?
a subpoena.
A subpoena for what?
Subpoena to be a witness for a manslaughter investigation.
Oh, wow, nice.
Oh, yeah, tons of fun.
Are we going out of our way to make this a Canadian-only hangout?
Yeah, I know.
Awesome.
Why is Brother? You're not Canadian, are you?
No, I'm not, but everybody else is.
Well, I know what's your name? Okie.
Yeah.
Okie Victory.
Okay, you're in Nova Scotia, are you?
No, I'm in Ontario, but I was living out in Nova Scotia for a while.
Well,
Yay, doesn't work.
all these Ontario
Oh,
guys.
sweet, sweet headset. There we go. Okay, now I'm 100% your guys's now that I'm not working.
All right, excellent. Okay, so RanCam, how bad does philosophy suck, or not?
Philosophy?
Yeah, okay, I'm in Nadia's hangout. I got to know philosophy, right?
I love Nadia, but no, you got to know mumble.
I got to know mumbling, right?
Yeah,
I've learned how to tell what she's saying by now.
Yeah, let's get ready to mumble. You know what I mean? Yeah, I'm not smart enough, or at least I'm not educated enough in philosophy to even give an opinion on it. I just believe that, you know, if you get to know somebody, people's lives will philosophize themselves. You know what I mean?
Okay. Like, I'm pretty stellar at philosophy, right, Sokka? Anyway, so I got to know all the words, right? I got to know immaterialism and determinism, and you got to correct my question every 5 seconds and tell me all my fallacies. That's philosophy to me.
Well, you know, it kind of. I mean, to some people it is. The problem is that philosophy is it's a really neat thing to learn. I mean, when you start understanding some of the mumble jumble that comes from it, it allows you to think about things and understand things in a slightly different way. Is it required? No. But I think there has to be some type of agreement too with people. Is that not every single person is like philosophical minded and knows all the terminology, knows all the stuff that you don't need to try to win arguments by trying to out philosophize somebody.
Oh, by correcting them every freaking thing they say, right?
Yeah, I mean, if somebody does something, for example, if somebody does commit a fallacy, you know, instead of just saying, yeah, you committed a fallacy, therefore everything you say is wrong from here on out,
Right.
maybe you should correct on it. Maybe go into more details. You know, it's just like, oh, yeah, you know what, if you're, you know, that's called a fallacy of composition. This is why it's wrong. You know, this is why it's not encouraged to use that. And one of the things that you need to understand, too, is that just because somebody commits a logical fallacy does not necessarily mean that their conclusion is wrong. It just means that the way that they got to that conclusion might not be the most sensible one.
Okay, RanCam, when you're talking with somebody, you take pains to correct their sentence structure?
Only if I know that they're going to be annoyed that Rand Campbell would even attempt to correct grammar. because
all right, you're in Nadia's hangout. When do you say stop the music and just say, let's quit bullshitting each other here and talk seriously?
Never.
You never do that. Why not? Because you're too polite?
Well, I have a soft spot for Nadia. I know that most people don't. I don't go into enough Nadia hangouts to be calloused by them. I just think that Nadia deserves a break where the rest of us may not.
You have some fondness for Nadia.
Yes.
I think a lot of people have fondness for Nadia that, you know, they maybe don't want to admit. I mean, I don't want to see her go away. I mean, I wake up in the morning to Nadia.
Yes.
Is that wrong?
Well, it depends on how you want me to clip that and put it in a video.
I wake up every day to Nadia.
Yeah.
That woman is
Chew your arm, dude. Chew your arm.
So you must be dressing up as a milk carton.
Is she ever not on the internet, Rand?
Wow. You know what? I know she's beautiful. It's like the hospital hangouts.
She's even in the hospital. She's on the internet.
Who would have thought that would ever happen? You know what I mean? I've done a hangout in my truck, but you know, when I seen her in a hospital, you know, under the knife getting operated on, I'm like, what? You're doing a hangout in a hospital. So, you know, kudos to Nadia. She puts the effort in. She offers, you know, everybody in this community something to do without having to turn on those stupid televisions. So.
Okay. Well, she's doing it right, don't you think?
Yeah, I think so. I think Nadia's got a really, really good heart. I think that I feel for her. I think that her life is, you know, obviously very shallow, and there's not a heck of a lot to it. I don't know what's going on in her mind, because I heard that she's been offered lots of opportunities and doesn't accept them for whatever reasons.
Should Nadia change? Yes or no?
No.
Why? I bet you a lot of Christians would question you on that. Why shouldn't she change?
Because I believe that she has purpose in who she is right now. And I think when I say should Nadia change, I think that we should all change if we're going to be, if I'm going to stroke that with a broad brush. But I think that Nadia provides a service and a purpose, and I think that when God is ready for that purpose to become something else, I think she'll change in the will of God. But I don't think any of us can just change for the sake of change. I think that that's all within purpose. So I think Nadia is fine the way she is for now.
Is there anybody you feel should change their act right now in the greater debate community?
Sokka. and I'll tell you why.
Why?
And I heard this yesterday from somebody else. And it's funny because I had said it a week earlier to Sokka. And I don't know that Sokka actually realizes this. But he used to be, like, honestly, a lot different. He was a much nicer, polite, responded differently, was, less about the hurtful comments, and it seems as though something's changed in the last couple of months.
No. Sokka, what happened?
I think so. I'm not the only one that noticed it.
Oh no, I can see that. No, I mean it's. Now, first off, I just want to clarify is that I don't do hurtful comments. No.
All right.
I think that, and they're not comments with the design to be hurtful. What they are is I think that I'm just a little less restrained when I tell people how I feel.
Okay, yeah, because you were a little bit more restrained months ago. Would you agree?
Yeah, I do agree with that actually.
You think Google Plus is changing us?
No. No, I think that the me trying to be restrain myself was more of a. It was more of an effort. I mean, to say that it was a facade or anything like that. I mean, that's not exactly. I made a genuine effort to not be as abrasive with people, and unfortunately, I just got worn down. Many people just ended up just pissing me off to the point that it wasn't worth the effort anymore. I put the effort out there to go into certain hangouts, to have certain discussions with people, and try to actually advance some type of conversation forward. And there's only so many times I can go into a room and be talked over, interrupted, and or removed before I finally just screw this. I don't even care anymore.
Okay, so you've learned that what is effective, wouldn't you say, Sokka?
Is what?
You've learned really what is effective by now, right?
No, there's clash of personalities. There's always going to be a clash of personalities. What's effective is not going into rooms with people that you disagree with. Now, I mean, most of the time there's certain people out there that I can recognize that I probably won't have any type of meaningful discourse with. So, I mean, for a good example is Nephilim Free. And it's not because I don't like Nephilim Free. It's just that I don't like his arguments, and the arguments that he tries to put out are arguments that I'm just not interested in. Plus, they're ones that I've listened to on YouTube from him for the last 4 or 5 years. I can argue Nephilim Free's position if I really wanted to. So, because I know that I'm not going to have any type of good conversation, I just not going to subject myself to that punishment. Okay,
RanCam, are there any theists in the G+ community that need help as far as their delivery, and I mean that their stuff is cornball and it needs to get better?
I would say probably most of us.
Really?
And I would use the word us because I'm clearly in that equation. But I would say G-Man, and I love G-Man like a brother. I truly love G-Man. I think that he's kind of gone down that entertainment road and not the good entertainment road, because unfortunately that's where the views come from, right? The views come from the drama and the entertainment and the silliness and the yelling and the screaming. I heard somebody say the other day.
Well, let me stop you right there, Ran. Isn't that what it's all about? Hits and subs.
Well, in a sense, it is. I mean, but from a Christian perspective, it shouldn't be. I heard somebody say about me the other day that the best hangouts with RanCam Campbell are the ones where I'm yelling and screaming. They're the funniest ones.
The lulls.
Yeah, that people like to see that part of me. You know what I mean? Which isn't very Christian. And so, again, it takes me away from what my purpose is supposed to be. I didn't come onto YouTube to become a YouTube celebrity. I came onto YouTube to put my testimony up and hopefully to get somebody to take a look at my life and go, wow, and then kind of be intrigued enough to maybe come to the Lord at some point.
Okay, what if that choice wasn't even up to you? Let's say, it's the audience that tells you who you should be.
Well, I think you hit it right on the head, Bunto. I think that's exactly what you end up finding out the longer you stay on this thing. I've been up here a few years now, and yeah, I have found out that you play to your audience, you play to your subscribers. They get used to what they like watching, and if you don't do that, they'll stop watching you, and they'll go watch somebody else.
Okay, Ask an Atheist, Sid.
Yes, he's also Canadian. Are you going to bring him in here because he's Canadian?
Yeah, I'm trying. I'm trying to bring as many people, all the people in. Okay, he's a part of this thing called Secular TV, which is a new outfit on YouTube dedicated to everything secular, and everything anti-theist, okay?
Right.
And those guys are all about watching the great debate community just go away. Like, they're the exterminator and they want the show to stop, okay? Is that your attitude, that it's already played out, or you like, the community?
It's the low-income housing community. What's not to like?
I've heard you say before. It's low-income. Okay, could you please extrapolate on that, Rand? Because I think it's lovely.
Well, look at us. We're multicultural. We've got the most disputes, the most drama, the most silliness, the most goofy interactions. We're funny. I would guess that if somebody just happenstans to cross this community because they had nothing to do on a Friday night,
right,
and looked at a few hangouts and got to know this community, I think that they would be on their knees laughing at the ridiculousness that comes out of this community sometimes. I think that we truly are, and I've lived in ghetto environments where it truly is this, where Betty said this, and John said that, and Carol said this, and did you hear what happened to Bob? And right. It's just that whole ghetto mentality that we have going on in here, where it seems like the best part of our week is the new drama.
What do you think, Lyrics? Correct? Saka?
When I go visit my mom on vacation and I go see my friends that I haven't seen, from high school and younger and stuff, we don't talk about the new things. We talk about all the old dramas that we used to have and stuff. And that's kind of like how any group of people who get together, eventually, you don't know them and then you start to know them, and then the funny stuff sticks out about them. And what's weird about Google Plus is there's so many of us, Right. So we all know.
What do you think, Saka? You want to go away or stick around?
Sorry, the drama, you mean?
Well, the drama and the whole community itself. Has the community played itself out? Is it cornball? Is it hee-haw?
Oh, it is pretty cornball and hee-haw.
It is cornball, hee-haw, but
I think one of the things is that people need to realize is that the Great Debate, the actual title itself, is a joke. It was actually brought in as a joke. This is not actually a great debate. It's a great debacle most of the time.
Yeah.
God, who is that again? I'm all tab. Sorry. That's Dusty. Yeah,
Dusty.
Gotta get
Sorry,
one of those
man.
mics. If I sound like that with one of those mics, that'd be awesome.
So, what do you think, Dusty?
What was the question again?
Okay, the great debate.
Has it played out?
Yeah.
Is that right?
Is it played out?
I honestly don't think it's gonna go away, because the struggle between religion and as far as advancing from that old paradigm, I believe it's always going to be there. It's because to grow, you have to go through pains, and this is just one of those. Like you said, it's a debacle. It's not a debate.
Okay, should it get smarter? or that's just totally beyond the reach of everybody involved?
Well, I don't think it's beyond the reach of every single person involved. I think that is something that could benefit the community and the people that actually do want to have these discussions. But I think the problem is that the people love a train wreck. That's
Okay, people like me and RanCam have to go take Philosophy 101 immediately, right?
no, you don't have to take Philosophy 101. It's just that what it is that if you're going to, basic logic is not that hard. I think every single person out here understands basic logic, because if we didn't have an understanding of basic logic, we probably wouldn't be able to function in the world as it is. And philosophy is based off of that basic logic. Yeah, there's a lot of terms and things that you can pick up along the way, a lot of different ways that you can approach things and think about it. But I don't think it's necessary. If you're rational, that's all you need to be. And when you're rational and reasonable when you approach these conversations, that if somebody does come out and that is philosophically minded and tell you that listen, this is the reason why your argument is wrong, or this is why the argument that you're putting out there isn't holding weight, or learning the difference between a valid argument and the sound argument, and listening to actually the feedback on that, it makes you grow in your own position, and that's what's important about it. I mean, the like I brought up, what was it, the fallacy of composition earlier, and I've heard theists bring this up before, that the idea that, well, if you're just a bunch of chemicals, then how can you do anything? And that's actually a logical fallacy, is assuming that something the characteristics of a part is characteristics of the whole thing. Yeah, we're a bunch of chemicals. Everything is a bunch of chemicals. That's just the way the universe is made. But it doesn't take away from any other argument. And to put that out there, it's just a red herring at that point in time.
Okay, well, let me see. All right, Dusty. Okay, people like Sokka and Dusty and Ozymandias are all about philosophy. People like G-Man and RanCam are all about spreading the word of God. And, people like me are about picking up chicks. Nadia, Shanny for Christ, Michael Ann. I mean, it's a, what would you say, energetic, unnerving environment that is the great debate community.
Yeah.
Everybody can have a niche. Wouldn't you agree, RanCam? There's a niche for everybody.
Well, what I'll say is this: is that I drove down to Newfoundland last spring and stayed in Newfoundland for 5-6 months. So I kind of, really kind of got away from YouTube for a minute. I came in to say hello once in a while, but it's amazing how many new people are here. Like, I mean, how many people come and go, and how many people come back. So right. I would say that this is never going to die. This community has so much life in it that it's never going to die. And I think that there's a variety of personalities here that makes it what it is. There are some really smart people in the area of philosophy, G-Man being one of them. There is a
I love it.
There is a vast amount of people that are intellectually sound in respects to scripture and as well in science. So I think that, whatever your flavor is, what are you looking for? Are you looking for a good scientific debate? Are you looking for a good philosophical discussion? Are you looking for some drama? Are you looking to hear some good scripture? Whatever it is that you're looking for, it's here. Now the question is, who do you want to hear it from? Do you want to hear it from somebody that is going to be long, drawn out, and boring, and more of a teacher-type character like Ozzy?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And no disrespect to the smart guy, but I can't do it. I quit school in grade 4. Or do you want to, hear Beckel discern scripture, right? Which for some people they can't take it. I like listening to Beckel personally. Do you want to hear Raw tell you about how you're going to hell, which can be fun on a Friday night if you've had enough beers in you? Are you looking to have RanCam Campbell throw a few Rand slaps out and accuse you of having a Rand crush? That might be a nice Saturday afternoon. So,
oh yes,
you feel me? Like, I mean, I every once in a while I play back my own videos and fall right in love. So it depends on what your flavor is, and it changes from week to week just because of the world that we're living in. And I think we can all admit that we'd rather do this than watch, Two and a Half Men or reruns of Oprah. I'm pretty certain that we're all in agreement that the best part of our lives now can sometimes be this community. As sad as that is. You know what I mean?
Okay, well, let me ask you this, RanCam. Do the theists on G Plus really hate us, the atheists, even though we're the guys who are always watching their shows? Like, G-Man hates atheists, right?
Yes.
Who watches them but atheists?
I'll tell you who I hate.
Please.
I hate the people that can't get off the insults. I don't mind the odd insult, believe me. You know what I mean? I'm good at it too. I can knock you to the floor with a good insult. But if that's all you got, it doesn't make me angry, but it certainly doesn't give me a reason to respect you, like I might you, brother. I've got a great deal of respect for you, brother.
Thanks.
But that's because, yes, you can throw the insult out, and you can be comedic, but at the same time, you're also a caring and decent human being, in my opinion, which you could be fooling me. But the bottom line is that I don't think the Christians actually really hate anybody. I think that our true goal, although it doesn't always seem that way, I think that our true goal is that we would like to bring somebody to Christ. I would love to have Dusty come to me privately and go, you know what, Rand, this thing about Jesus, the way you deliver it, man, I'm telling you, I'm in. I would love to have somebody come to Christ through me.
So eventually, someday, I will interview G-Man.
I would encourage it.
Did you know that after 20 seconds, he blocked me? Forever.
What kind of cologne were you wearing?
I was because it was my eyes. No, it was just okay. Listen, I've noticed that G-Man now is on a new track for 2015. He's starting to go after other theists. What do you think of that? He's going after Andy, Jack, and Fiona.
Well, they're not Christians. They're not Christians.
They're not Christians.
Well, hold on. Can I weigh in on that for a second?
Please, Sasha.
Is that there's a lot of different divides in this community. And I think one of the main divides, like probably the dominant one above everything else, is not atheism versus theism. It's people who reason through people who rationalize, and I think that's a huge difference. And people will probably disagree with me on this at a certain point, but there's a reason why you have people that recognize themselves as Christians that will stay on the atheist side of the argument, and it's not because they're on team atheist, they're on team reasoning. It's just that they use they take a look at the information that they have, they take a look at the facts out there, and they reason to their position, and they can justify it that way. And then on the other side, you have people that rationalize. They have their conclusion, and then they try to take the evidence and they try to fit it in whatever way that gets to their conclusion. And it's two different mindsets that people have, and the problem is when you have somebody that rationalizes things, that they have their conclusion. Their conclusion is set in absolute stone, and what they're going to do is they're going to twist all the facts around so that they can always end up at that same conclusion. And you have somebody that argues from that side to somebody that uses more their reason, where it's just like they take a look at the facts and then they decide what that conclusion is. Guys like Adam Pugh, is a guy that I think does that a lot and recognizes him as a Christian. I mean, a lot of the people on the atheist side do that as well. But I mean, we have people on the atheist side that do exactly the same thing. I mean, they're so set in their their anti-theist ways or whatever that they won't even listen to arguments anymore, because any argument automatically is debunked if it ends with God. And that's why those people are outliers, or even in the atheist community, because it's just about people that have two different ways of thinking to come to different conclusions, and that's why it shouldn't be like at that level. It's not atheist versus theist. It just starts off with, like I said, like the reasoning versus the rationalizing.
Okay, well, let me say that's a very politically correct way of looking at it. Rand, please tell me who these false Christians are.
Well, first and foremost, if you're not the type of a Christian that is talking about how much you love Jesus Christ and putting him first and foremost in your YouTube or Google Plus communications or interactions.
I don't care about that. Tell me, who are these false Christians?
Well, I'm trying to explain to you. Okay, I'll tell you who they are. Fiona, Fiona's not a Christian. Phony Beatlemaniacs by his own name. He's not a Christian. He's a phony. This Adam Pugh, he's a phony. Who else is a phony? Let me think. Lasoil. Andy Jack. No, Andy Jack's a Christian, but his doctrine's a little messed up right now because he wants everybody to go to heaven, and that's just not going to happen. Sinners and Saints, Lasoil and Michael from Rational Roundtable, they're not Christians.
Okay. Which is worse, an atheist or a phony Christian?
Phony Christian.
Why?
Well, because they're deceiving.
Because they're deceiving people on purpose or
deliberate. It's a deliberate deception, absolutely.
It's a deliberate deception.
Mm-hmm.
Mark, how you doing? Such a thing as a phony Christian? What do you think?
What's that?
Is there such a thing as a phony Christian?
Yes.
Are they weak people or are they just liars?
They could be delusional.
I mean, are they deliberately lying like Rand's saying that they're just...
I think that there are some who do, sure. Yeah, the scriptures warn us about that.
Or are they just weak person in that they cannot obey what the scripture is saying?
Not understanding that question.
You see what I'm trying to say, Rand? That they're weak, that they can't do what the scripture commands.
I say that there's an embarrassment sometimes that comes with professing Jesus Christ as Lord and Savior. And there are people that have been raised in a Catholic church or in a Christian environment that adhere to the Christian name tag. But when it comes to standing on a street corner and raising a Bible to the passerby saying, you know, screaming scripture people, it takes a real belief in Christ and a real hope that all of that is not only true in your faith, but true in your entire with every fiber of your being. And it's embarrassing for people. And I think that Fiona gets so much love and respect from the atheists that she just can't profess the name Jesus Christ as we are expected to.
Or how about this? It says in the Bible how the earth was created. She doesn't want to accept what it says.
Exactly. And if you're going to take one page out of the Bible, you might as well take them all.
Well, you had asked about phony Christians. Now, I believed I was a Christian. I've been told since then by Christians that I never was a Christian at all, because I never would have left Christianity. Now, I was just in a chat room a little while ago where someone told me that RanCam is not a true Christian. So, do you believe that RanCam is a true Christian?
RanCam?
No, he's asking you. I know I am.
I thought he was asking you.
No, I was asking you, Bunto.
I am so liberal, you guys would just cast me into the fire.
Well, I'd actually like to hear across this board, from left to right, who thinks I'm a Christian.
I do.
I think you're a Christian. I could call myself a Christian.
No, but you really believe that I'm a Christian?
Yes.
I think that by the loosest definition of a Christian.
But I don't mean that in a positive sense.
But by the loosest definition of a Christian, I believe you're a Christian. I believe that your version of Christianity is an act. What
does that mean? Your version? You're a Christian, but your version of Christianity is an act.
Well, I don't think that RanCam is a nut bar. I really don't. I think that he's probably a very bright guy. But you see some of the videos that he puts out about, secret Illuminati messages and Katy Perry videos and shit like that, and you realize that he's playing to a certain audience. Yeah, I don't believe for a second that he thinks like that.
What say you, Ran?
You'd be surprised.
Well, I have a business life. Ben, it looks like a Ben-a-berry or a troll. I have a business life. I know how to separate things in this world.
Compartmentalize.
Yeah, exactly. And my business life is my business life, and I deal with it very strictly. My relationships with my daughters and my grandkids, I have a very strict relationship with them where, you know, we discuss God and we discuss Christ, and they come to church, and we have that relationship. But I don't share other things with them that are inappropriate. Do I believe that there is Satanism being used in music today? Absolutely. I've shown it. It is there. Why they're doing it is up for discussion. But the fact that they are doing it isn't. It is there. My beliefs on that might be different from most, but I've looked at it from a different angle, and maybe seen something that somebody else hasn't. Has what I've seen, is it the truth? I don't know. Do I believe?
RanCam, does it bother you when people say you're not a Christian?
No.
It shouldn't.
No, it doesn't bother me because the people that are saying it aren't Christians.
All right.
You know
okay,
what I mean?
does anybody else have a question for RanCam? I want to open the floor up.
No, I just want to thank him for the conversation last night. I enjoyed it very much. Even with Von Helton getting a little bit passionate, I thought it was a very good conversation.
Yeah, and I enjoyed meeting you last night, Mark. I think that I was watching you guys. I always watch Hangouts for at least a half hour to get a gauge on what's being talked, and you know, the emotions and the language. And I did hear what you were saying, and I was trying to come in on your defense, and then Nadia had to send me a private link because I couldn't get in. But I was as well very happy to have met you last night, sir. I think you're a very, very decent human being.
Thank you.
Okay, Ran, who do you fear in the G+ community?
Myself.
You're the only one. I mean, do you fear like forbidden fruit?
No. No, I already took the wind out of his sails the very first time I seen him come in. Well, I did. I did a video on him, and then everybody gave him a list. 1 second, Saga. They gave him a list of Christians to go after, and I was in that list, of course. So I did, and I knew that was going to happen. So I did a quick video on him and referred to his skinny little arms, and he, you know, couldn't lift his own lunchbox, and you know, I started hammering away at him with some quick little one-liners. He ended up doing a video on me because he was being told by so many people, "You got to do a video on Rand. You got to do a video on Rand." And even in his video, he says, "You know what? You guys aren't going to like me, but I got nothing bad to say about Rand. I actually like Rand." So I took the wind out from under him from the get-go. So I got no problem. I don't fear him at all.
Didn't he sort of like cut off the branch? Well, he came out with a video saying that Christianity was a mental illness.
It is.
Did you hear about that? Okay, what's your take on that, please?
It is.
It is.
Yeah, if you're not a Christian, you're mentally ill.
What?
What? I know. Here comes more videos on me. Can I give you a different answer from the question of are there any atheists out there that I fear?
Okay.
I have one.
Who?
Hillary.
Oh my.
We'll just leave it there.
This is one thing I want to say. You know, Hillary is a delightful creature. I enjoy her company very much. Maybe there will be some reconciliation in the future.
Hey, she doesn't need it though. You know what I mean? And I know Hillary well enough to tell you she's an extremely bright person. She can be just a little bit. Yeah, she's crazy hot. She's just a bit annoying, but she's wonderful. She really is. If you get to know Hillary from a personal level, of which I've sat and watched her drink a bucket of iced tea and wine, and gotten to see a side of her that was wonderful. I think she's an amazing human being. She has her issues, as we all do, and I obviously triggered whatever one of those issues is. But she doesn't need reconciliation. She doesn't need anything. She's a very strong person, and I would just apologize to her again for anything that I did or said to her that would have been inappropriate, and I'll just leave it there.
Hey, have you guys heard from Stizer lately?
We had an operation. Didn't you see his legs? He had his legs cut open. He had some blood clots taken out.
Yeah, I saw that. So is that his status, that he's recuperating?
Well, I don't think he's running marathons with
cheating. I talked to him a couple days after he was out of the hospital, and he's recovering.
I was just curious. I went ahead and sent him an invite. Okay, so the atheists on the whole are lightweights, right, Cam? Nobody out there can throw.
No, come on, man. No, they're. You're not going to argue with me. I don't argue against God. That would be like coming into my house and me offering you a piece of apple pie that is clearly sitting on my dining room table, and you don't see the pie and you want to sit there and argue with it argue about it with me for 2 days. I'm not going to argue about God. God exists. End of story. You don't see him here. That's fine. You will see him when you cross over. I promise you. And I'm not going to argue with it.
Okay, and those atheists that choose to constantly harp about how there's no God, they just got to do something else?
Well, if you're having fun, like I said, the flavor of this low-income housing community is awesome. It's an awesome community. It's like a buffet of everything. You can go from the most retarded snack item to a full course intelligent dinner. It is the buffet of buffets in here. So I would say I wouldn't discourage you to come in and argue your position, but just know that for me it's not an argument. God exists. End of story.
Right. Okay. Well, let me ask you this, Rand. Is there just too much God talk altogether?
No, that's what this community is. This is the great debate. This is. I would love to have been here when the first Christian and the first atheist actually met in this community.
Wow.
I wonder who they were.
Yeah, really, Adam and Eve. Huh? Okay. Well, I was thinking about there's social issues going on, like marriage equality and maybe police brutality, right? I mean, we're having a lot of, like a war going on between cops and civilians now. I mean, should we start talking about that and less about God?
We could talk about September 23rd.
Yeah, I guess the reckoning. I mean, well, the whole world's going to unravel, huh?
What I'm going to say is this: you guys need to. You see, here's what I'm going to say to you. And I told my friend this today. My friend and I were out doing some shopping in a computer store, looking at some stuff, and so he's a Christian buddy of mine. So we were just kind of kicking it and talking about some stuff. And I said to him that telling the truth to people. This is Mark. I'm glad you're here because I was actually thinking about you when I was talking to my friend Peter today. Because I want to say this to the people that keep rejecting the truth. And I said to him that this is how I see it. And my friend was like, Rand, you're not in a boxing ring. You don't have to be so harsh all the time. Like that's way too harsh for Christianity. You're going to start acting more like a Christian. I go, well, this is my, as Sokka would say, this is my type of Christian. So here's what I would say to trying to tell people the truth.
Sure.
It's like this for me, Mark. It's like this. The little girl wants to tell her mother that her new boyfriend is being inappropriate with her. He's diddling her. So the little girl, in fear of this new boyfriend, this stepfather who is molesting her, wants to tell the mother. So she finally gets up the nerve to say, Mom, here is a truth that you're not going to like. Because what I'm trying to tell this community, they're not going to like what I want to tell them, Mark, about what's really going on in this world. They're not going to like it. But like that little girl, I want to tell the truth. So the little girl says to the mom, Mom, that new boyfriend you have has been doing some inappropriate things to me. He's been doing this, that, and the other. And she's trying to tell Mom the truth. And what I'm finding from this community, from the people I'm trying to share this with, is the mother that dismisses the child as being crazy and tells her to stop talking that foolishness. He would never do that. That's not true. You're lying, and go away, and pushes the truth away. And that's how I see when I'm trying to explain to people in this community this truth that I now have. I see it exactly as that, like the little girl trying to say that something very wrong is happening, but they dismiss it as being crazy, and the little girl gets looked at as being a liar.
Mm-hmm.
Interesting.
That's how I feel in telling this truth to people.
Okay, well, let me ask you this. What if, like right now the world is dealing with ISIS.
That's huge.
Suppose that happened to our community, like we get a bunch of Muslims, Islam, coming in here and telling us how great it is. Do you think we'll unite against them?
Well,
Start telling the world how bad Islam sucks.
No, I asked atheists a very simple question. If you had a gun to your head and were told that if you're not an atheist or if you're not a Muslim, you're going to die, would you say you're a Muslim just to save your life? And they all said yes.
They all said yes.
Yeah,
Anyone?
they said, and the same thing about Christianity. If you had a gun to your head and were told that you have to be a Christian or you're going to die, would you say that you're a Christian just so you wouldn't die? And they said yes.
What?
Yes,
Well-
that they would not die for atheism. That atheism was not something that you would die for. Whereas me, I would die for it to be a Christian. If I had to say that I was an atheist to save my life, just to save my life. If you say you're an atheist, you're free to go. We're not going to kill you. But if you say you're a Christian, we're going to kill you. Would you say you're a Christian? And my answer is yes, take my life. That's the difference. So I believe that if Muslims did somehow come and take over North America and put that type of a judgment on people, I believe that, yes, atheists would not die for atheism. But I know that Christians would absolutely die for Christianity, true Christians.
Okay, Osaka, are you there?
Yeah, I'm here.
Okay, does that make sense to you that we're weak that way?
Oh, it's not about weak. It's what it is it's the difference in views here. I mean, this is why when people say atheism is a religion, and this no, it's not. The saying that I like is that atheism is a religion is like saying abstinence is a sex position. It's not. You don't have a dogma. You don't have a set of beliefs. All you have is a certain view on a single issue, and that's the issue of does a god or do gods exist? And we've come to the conclusion it doesn't. Now, are we going to die for this belief? I mean, the Christian has to hold on to this dogmatic view regardless. It's part of their faith. They have a dogma. They have a strict code that basically says, you have to do this, and if you don't do this, you're a shitty Christian. So they have a pressure to do that. Atheism, it's it's a position that's about it's a very rational position. It's about and like I said before, it's about reasoning. And if all I have to do to guarantee my life is to tell a little white lie with a gun to my head, well, yeah, I'm going to do that. And
okay, so you're willing to go Muslim?
No, you're never going to fully convert. What do you think that I'm going to say? Yeah, I'm a Muslim, and all of a sudden I'm going to fucking believe this shit?
The gun's at your head.
It's a statement. All you have to do is make a statement about something. If somebody put a gun to my head and said, "Hey, do you believe is red your favorite color?" and if you don't say red's your favorite color, I'm going to blow your fucking brains out. And I'm a huge fan of blue. You think I'm going to be fucking dogmatic about what fucking color I like?
All right. Well, let's say the truth. Okay, these guys are bulldozing what would you say, ancient city after another. I mean, don't you guys hate Islam by now?
No, I mean, I'm not
flying airplanes into our buildings and Charlie Hebdo. You guys don't hate Islam by now?
I don't hate Islam. I don't hate Christianity, and while I do hold anti-theist views in the sense that I think that the world would be a better place without people clinging on to these dogmatic visions.
The way that I go ahead.
Oh no, it's okay. Obviously, it wasn't important enough for me to finish.
No, I'm sorry. No,
it's fine. No, I'm pretty sure that whatever you had to say was much more important than my rambling. It's okay.
No, it was just going to be additional rambling, so go right ahead.
Okay, please. Okay, get the point. ISIS, tell us what you're gonna say, please.
There's no other god but Allah, and Muhammad is his prophet.
Right. Okay. Piba. All right. You guys.
I was enjoying Sokka's rambling more.
Yes, exactly. No, I was just gonna say I basically agree. I'm sorry I interrupted.
Okay. Well, you guys.
You just open your mouth and stuff start coming at me.
I know. That's why I cut back. I'm like, wait, maybe I should let Sokka finish.
Okay, listen to me. You guys don't hate Islam by now, really?
See.
Says who?
You're saying hate Islam. Now, are you talking Islamist extremists?
Oh, okay. Okay. How about even that? Islamic extremists.
Yeah, I hate them.
And the moderate Muslims, right, RanCam? We don't hate them. I mean, they never speak up.
Don't?
Well, that's the whole thing. I did a video on this a couple of years ago. About if you guys, the atheist community, the Sokkas and the Alex Bottons and the Glutes and the JD Kings, the ones that really the ones. I'm sorry, did the middle of my sentence interrupt the beginning of yours, sir?
Yes.
So what I would say is that, if you guys could get rid of the fundamentalist Christians or the fundamentalist Muslims or the fundamentalist religious people.
Right.
That would be a good thing. But here's what would happen. Then the next level would be annoying to you, and you'd want to get rid of them. And then right down to that lukewarm, you can barely tell they believe in anything religious person, that watered down Fiona type Christian that Jesus Christ is going to spit out of his mouth. When it got down to just her, she would become annoying.
Okay,
The bottom line is you want to get rid of Christianity, period.
No, it's not that. Let me try to put it this way: is that I recognize myself as a humanist, and one of the things that I believe in, that I will advocate for, is the right for religious freedom. Is that every single person has a right to believe whatever they want, and you shouldn't be persecuted or judged based on those beliefs. But that means that that has to go all the way around. I also believe that nobody should have to be forced to live under somebody else's religious views as well. The fact that someone's a Christian doesn't bother me at all. The fact that certain aspects of Christianity get affected in policies that governments form and decisions that we make does bother me. And so that's where it's like, okay, I'd rather be in a situation where people can worship whatever they want. People can be as religious as they want. But I have to be able to have also the right to not have to be exposed to this on a daily basis.
So it's not exactly hating the religion, it's just you don't like it when it gets shoved down people's throats and stuff.
Sure.
Okay, Mark, these guys take cherry pickers and hang homosexuals from them. They beat their women down. They behead atheists. We've got to accept them all, right?
And other religious people.
Okay, we're talking extremists.
Okay, are we talking extremists? Can you guys see? I mean, the entire countries are like saying, okay, let's, hang somebody for
yeah, but those people don't think they're extreme, dude. It's a culture shock.
That's right. That's a good point.
We think they're extreme because we don't hang gays, man. But they do, and it's quite common.
Well, not anymore, at least. I mean, there's the cases with like Alan Turing and things like that, right?
Well, that's I'm a Christian in, but I'm talking about Islam right now. I mean, aren't these guys taking it?
Well, you go to Saudi, dude, and you'll get hung off. I don't think they have trees over there, but if you're in Saudi Arabia and you come out as gay, they will kill you.
Well, no, yeah.
Right, they can sort out.
I understand that, but the Muslims in the United States, do you know Muslims in the United States that would do that?
Right. Okay. So what do we have that the Saudis don't?
Well, hold on. I mean, I think one of the things that you need to realize too is that just because it's not part of our culture doesn't mean that they don't agree with it. They did that poll in the UK not too long ago that basically said that it was like 25% of people that recognize themselves as moderate Islam did believe that the Dutch cartoonist that drew Muhammad should have been put to death. This is coming from the people that recognize themselves as moderates in a country that is largely secular.
Okay, well, I guess the only thing that I really have to go on is my own experience, and I had a Muslim lover. So...
Okay, you guys have to go to, what was it, Hajj or something, to go to Mecca, right? Don't all the Muslims have to do that?
Only if you're a real Muslim or something. I don't know.
Right, but I mean, well, that's Behead City.
No, someone else can take the journey for you.
Okay,
you're supposed to go. But you can, I think a family member, if a family member is going, they can go for a certain amount of family members. I'm pretty sure.
Well, okay, well, let me dovetail all this out. It seems to me, in our great debate community, if we had some sort of Muslim invasion, that would unite atheists and Christians. Don't you think so, Ran?
Yeah, it would unite Christians and Muslims against atheists.
You think so? It'd be the other way. Okay.
Well, you know what? Here's my thing. You see, because you got to be drawn to something, bro. You know what I mean? If you don't like basketball, you ain't going to be drawn to watch a game. If you're not drawn away from something or drawn to something, then I don't understand why you would even pay attention to it. You understand? So here's what I'm trying to say is that I wasn't an atheist, but when I wasn't really about God, I was just living my life and doing my thing. I could have cared less about Christianity and politics. Didn't mean anything. I could have cared less about Christianity in school. I still, to this day, can't see where it is such a huge thing that I would dedicate even 15 minutes of my life to it. So what I mean by being drawn to something is there's something else drawing these atheists to this whole, I'm going to change politics and getting rid of Christianity. I don't want it in our school system. I don't want it in our politics. I don't want it in our courts. No. It isn't that prevalent, and it isn't that huge a deal that would draw me to it as a purpose for 15 minutes of my life. So there must be something else about it that is drawing you to it. And here's what I believe it is. You're not going to like this, soccer, but you're just going to have to accept the fact that I'll probably never catch you before you leave Toronto and go back out west. So you're safe. But here's what I would say is that it's your hatred for God that draws you to this purposeless passion.
And that's scripturally based too.
That's right.
Okay, look, just cross my head, but were you ever attracted to Islam, Ran?
Yes.
You were?
Well, I wanted their hats. I like the hat. Well, I do. I look like a big, ice cream sundae. No, I'm not attracted to any religion. I'm not a religious man.
Okay.
I'm a Christian. I have a relationship with Jesus Christ. And a relationship is based on both parties knowing each other. You see, Jesus Christ said that many will come to him in his name, and he will spit them out like lukewarm water and said, I never knew you. Do you understand what I never knew you meant? It means this. I can tell you everything there is to know about Pamela Anderson, and then you could go meet Pamela Anderson. Oh, I was talking to RanCam Campbell. He seems to know an awful lot about you. You and him must be in a relationship. And she'll go, well, I never knew him. I don't know him. Who is he? You see what I'm saying? So a lot of people, religious people, don't have a relationship with Jesus Christ. They have a relationship with a religion.
Right.
And being a Muslim is a relationship to a religion.
I just want to point out that, and this goes back to the earlier point when you want to talk about fallacies here, and what you're presenting there, it's not a dichotomy. Okay, what you're presenting is a false dichotomy. You might think that you have a relationship. You still have a religion.
No, I don't.
Yeah, you do. You follow a set of beliefs from a supreme being that you believe is the creator of the universe. That is all you need to be classified as having a religion. I mean, if you don't have a religion, then I'm not sure what you want to call it. But
I don't adhere to your definition of the word religion, Sokka. I don't adhere to it.
That's fine. You don't have to adhere to the definition that 99.99999% of the world uses, but you have a religion. Now, you also have a relationship, but it's not a dichotomy between it's either a religion or a relation,ship. And I just want to point that out.
Don't you get the relationship through the religion?
Yeah, exactly.
I'd also like to point out on the point that Rand Campbell made about schooling, where it is kind of interesting that maybe the pattern that we already see here on the small, where the atheists are much more caring about certain things like education and what's being taught than Christians. Maybe that extends out into the large, where in general atheists care more about what's taught in schools than Christians do, and that allows for a majority of atheists to then go on to the committee boards and things to make sure that they keep that stuff out of the schools. I think that would all follow.
Perfect record, wrong again. Let me explain something to you. Here in Ontario, and you probably know about this, Sokka. Right now, they're trying to pass a sex education curriculum here in Ontario schools, where they're going to be teaching 6-year-old kids that there are 9 genders.
Well, I was speaking more about places like Texas, where it's a majority Christian, and yet they want to have creationism in schools, but yet a small quarter are basically able to, through their efforts, keep it out.
Yeah, well, I just want to point out that the whole sex system or the sex education system that they want to bring in Ontario here is not this idea where they're going to be teaching 6-year-olds this stuff. What it is that it's a graduated system that is universal across all schools in Ontario. That's going to take tiered approach to sexual education starting at a very young age. At
Right.
6-year-old, they're going to be talking about things like good touch, bad touch, all that other stuff. My son's at that age. That's the kind of stuff that he's going to be exposed to. He's not going to be exposed to putting condoms on or anal sex at 6 years old. That's the stuff that's going to be come up in these classes well into the high school level. So
No, not in the high school level soccer. Me and my brother just discussed this because he has a 6-year-old as well. And no, they're going to be teaching the 9 genders in grade 3 and 4. That there are 9 genders. One of those genders being double-spirited. Have you ever heard of that gender?
Double-spirited.
Two-spirited. That's in India.
What are the 9 genders?
I'd have to look into that again. But I mean, even if you're going to say it's grade 3 or 4, then we're already moving past the 6-year-old level to the 10, 11-year-old level. So that's 5 more years than your original.
Well, no, but I didn't say they were going to be teaching. Well, maybe I did. But let me just look at it here because I know that what it is. They did a protest down at City Hall a couple of weeks ago. Did you know that?
Yeah, people protest just about fucking everything.
No, I don't blame them.
Yeah. I mean, shit. There's people that fucking protest Remembrance Day. Like, what the fuck is wrong with people? I mean, yeah, you're going to find nut bars everywhere. But I mean, the point is that the sex ed system it's an education system that's supposed to, make people more informed, and they want to do this because that is the best way to prevent things like teens pregnancy and STDs. We have more than enough studies from North America, from various places in North America that show that programs that don't teach like the full, kit and caboodle for sex ed are generally going to be the areas that have higher teen pregnancy and higher STD rates, higher abortion rates. Texas is a huge example of this. I mean, shit. Go take a look at a chart. Go take a look at a chart that says that shows where abstinence-only programs are taught and where the highest teen pregnancy rate is. And holy shit, the places where they don't teach the full programs is where you're going to find those things. So yeah, is it uncomfortable to start talking to a 6-year-old about things relating to sex? Yeah, absolutely. I mean, shit, I didn't get it at that young of age either. But is it something that can benefit us overall? And
There's no link there.
Is it something that we should alter our views on because it will benefit us? And I'd say yeah.
Oh, can I have a quick interjection here? Sid, are you there? Sid.
Yes, I am.
Okay, RanCam said just about 10 minutes ago that an atheist wouldn't take a bullet for atheism. Is that true?
I have no idea. What does that mean?
I mean, he said that a Christian will take a bullet for saying, yeah, he's a Christian, but an atheist will go Muslim when, the barrel's pointed at their head.
You mean if I was given a choice to be Muslim or die?
Right.
He said, well, of course I'm going to choose to live.
So you go Muslim, right?
No matter what.
Praise be unto him.
Praise be unto the one God.
Well,
you're right,
Allah,
man. If
Allah, the only God, the only God around, whose messenger is Muhammad, the pedophile.
Well, get ready to get on your knees and start praying 5 times a day, bro.
Gonna have to change your YouTube to a Muslim.
No more bacon.
No, apparently I only have to get on one knee. Isn't that right?
Anyway, yeah, sex education is very important.
No, it's not.
Okay, why are atheists so pussy? Rand, how come atheists are so pussy about things? I mean, we should just, man up and say there is God, right? Jesus.
Well, no. You see, that's not up to you anyways. You gotta get on your knees and get rid of those egos. Until you do that, and faith comes from hearing the word of God.
It's an ego thing. We're not humble.
Blah 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 blah.
Oh, here she goes. Roll out the rainbow flag. Look at. Are you even Canadian?
Look, Sid.
Are you even Canadian? Seriously, I'm getting sick and tired of you asking atheists. And change your name to something simple.
I don't fucking care what you're doing, you asshole.
I get him. Yeah, you're not Canadian. Yeah, see, you're not a real Canadian. A Canadian would have been polite.
Like you. Right.
White.
Okay, Sid, our egos are way too big to accept the fact that Jesus is the Lord.
Yeah.
Well, what does ego stand for? Ego
Well,
stands for
you know
edge
what?
God out.
Whatever you guys want to say, you Christians, you theists, bullshit, bullshit, bullshit. You can spew it out as much as you like. You can go have your 24-hour a day live Christian theist hangouts.
Right.
You can preach as much as you like, but for every second of your preaching, for every second that every preacher has preached throughout throughout human history, has been a fucking total waste of time because they're preaching about nothing. Wow.
Well, there you go, Rand.
How does that make you feel now, Rand?
Well, it makes you feel sorry for you.
Oh, really? That's so sweet.
Because
Hey, Rand, are you ever afraid of hurting the atheist feelings?
You guys don't have any feelings. You guys, it's all in
Really
your
asked
mind.
that question.
It's all in your mind. There's nothing to hurt. It's like when you guys give your wedding vows, it sounds something like this. I think I love you. My chemicals and my brain waves are telling me I love you. But you guys don't really have,
No, not like you. Hell no. We don't have.
I got a soul, brother. My soul tells me,
Oh, cool.
that I feel what I feel.
Oh, you got a soul now. Oh, now you make up another thing.
Checkmate.
Okay, look, Rand, we're looking for excuses before we give a straight answer.
What's a soul made out of, by the way?
Well, it's made in the image of God. It's an energy.
No, well, what's it made out of?
Wow, Joey, why do you ask stupid questions, man?
Oh, I'm so sorry for asking a stupid question.
You think I
Probably made out of
dissected one?
ectoplasma.
You think that I've dissected one and taken it to one of your corrupted laboratories where your scientists and their peer reviews are so
come on, Rand. You know there's no such thing as science.
Well, they've done studies saying that the body has an electromagnetic field about it, and it kind of looks like a soul.
No. That's just your.
Well, let me ask you this.
Your aura. What?
Are you aware of the fact that the human heartbeat is in tune with the pulse at the center of the Earth? That the Earth has a pulse? Are you aware that the human heart is tuned to that exact?
I'm aware that you're talking the biggest load of crap.
Well, then just go ahead and research it. It's true. Did you know that?
Research it. Yeah, right. It's true.
Wait, did you know that your heartbeat can go 120 beats per minute? I mean, it ranges wildly. What are you talking about?
No. But then when it settles, it tries to tune itself to the pulse of the
What
Earth.
do you mean? Athletes' hearts beat slower.
Did you know that
the resting heart rate for every single person isn't
It's
universal?
slightly different. Yeah,
Did you know that all aircraft and defense systems are also tuned to the heartbeat of the Earth, the pulse?
Oh, sure.
Okay, there's a universal vibration going on.
Yes.
That mankind is in tune with.
That's right.
Someone better
Therefore,
Google
God.
this.
Until now, you're just encouraging him.
No, but it's true.
Well, I mean, listen.
Google it.
There's an entire YouTube
Change your voice.
There's an entire YouTube network called Secular TV, right, Sid?
No.
Yes, there is.
That wants to
Right.
extinguish this sort of what they would characterize as woo and pseudoscience. Am I right, Sid?
You could be right. Yeah.
Well, Sid, please tell us about Secular TV. I mean, do I need to start listening to reason, or do I need to start listening to the truth as RanCam is telling me?
If you want to listen to truth, you better listen to Rand Campbell because he's got it all figured out.
Well, yeah, because I've got more than one sponsor, and her name isn't Nadia.
There you go, RanCam. All right, well,
Well, I'll tell you about Secular TV though, if you want to know.
Please, Sid.
Oh man, you're gonna love what I gotta say.
Oh God.
And this is for you, Rand.
Can I
Especially
pray
for you.
first?
As long as you pray for me to go to hell, you can go ahead. But you're going to promise me.
I
You're going to promise me that you're going to pray for me to go to the hottest hell with the fieriest lake of burning whatever the fuck they have down there. Anyway.
No. I want you to listen to brother. I just
hold on a second before you carry on. I want to tell you that the goal of secular TV is to help promote unique and interesting content while focusing on a variety of diverse ideas that appeal to various groups in the secular community. Secular community. Ladies and gentlemen, secular. No,
when was the last time you heard this? Drop the crack pipe and let go of the little boy. Really?
Sid?
Come out with your hands up, Sid. Are you serious?
Are you guys laughing at this little fucking no-brain?
I love Rand, dude. He's a big teddy bear.
Sid, you have a lot of theist friends.
I have no theist friends. I refuse. I don't trust theists. I don't trust
Okay, well,
theists
there's a
at
problem
all.
there, right, Rand? He has no theist friends. So how do you reach somebody like
I'm
Sid?
your friend. Sid, I'm your friend. Aren't I your friend?
No.
Why would you like to be? Would you like to be friends?
No, thank you.
I think all atheists should have at least one Christian friend. Don't you think so, Sokka?
I have Christian friends.
No, I think that all atheists should have at least one.
Could you provide a list? No. Anyway, yes, you got a good point there, Rand.
Why? Why should they? Why should they have a Hindu friend, a Buddhist friend, a Muslim?
It'd be interesting.
Okay, why are you racist against Christians, Sid?
Because Christianity is not a race.
Why are you racist against people that believe in Jesus as their Lord?
People are not race. It's nothing to do with race. Bunto.
Should I feel bad about someone else's bad idea?
Oh, okay. That's a good point, lyrics. But would you discriminate against them?
You racist against Christians.
Can you be discriminatory against a bad idea, something that you think is a bad idea?
Oh, yeah, all the way.
Of course.
Sid,
But that's not
racism.
What?
Sid, do you consider yourself tolerant?
I'm
Do I
pretty tolerant.
consider myself what?
Tolerant.
No.
Okay.
Okay, why aren't you tolerant, Sid?
No, that's good. I'm glad.
Because I don't tolerate BS. Why should I?
Okay, why shouldn't he tolerate BS, Rand? Where in the Bible does it say you gotta tolerate BS?
Well, he first of all has to recognize what is BS and what is not. It's not like he has an authority on all truth. There's a lot of things that he might think are true that he'll find out are not.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
For instance, just a for instance, do you think you're smart?
No.
Okay, so that's true. Do you think that you're correct in being a atheist?
Do I think I'm correct in being an atheist? That's a very difficult question to answer because I don't really understand
It's
it.
not a difficult question.
Come on, Sokka.
What the fuck is wrong with you? No, of course. No, I'm correct in this because the knowledge that I have, every single thing that I believe, everything that I know is provisional and new evidence. All the evidence that I've looked at, and I've looked into it quite a bit, has come to the conclusion that a God more than likely does not exist. And providing any type of new evidence that can sway me from that position, then that's probably the belief that I'm going to have. I'm correct in this in the sense that it is based off of the truth of the world around me.
Okay, so
I could do that.
Okay, so is atheism correct for Rand Campbell?
Well, in my opinion, yeah, I think it is.
No, but see, now you're being biased.
No, you know what? Hold on a second. When I start off with, in my opinion, I think that we're working on the assumption that I am kind of biased in it. I mean, I can't make the judgment for you. That's why I clarified with the in my opinion.
That was a loaded question.
Yes, it was. But the truth of the matter is that no, atheism would not be correct for me.
I think atheism would make sense.
Well, it would be if
I believed it.
Yeah.
But I don't.
But I guess the question is that the question I asked for you is that is that I feel like I can, I can justify my atheism. How do you justify your Christianity? Like, what is like the main thing for you? Just revelation, feeling.
I've never felt better in a position in my life.
Okay, so it's just about emotion.
Not necessarily. I have intellectual reasons as to why I believe that Jesus Christ died on that cross and was God wrapped in flesh. I have intellectual reasons.
Okay, what do you mean by intellectual? Can you elaborate that a little bit?
Well, I look at the way the world is today, and I see that it's broken, and I believe that we are spiritual beings having a physical experience, and I see where the world needs a savior. I don't think we can fix ourselves when I think about what it is about us that is broken.
Yeah, there's a lot of crime in Toronto. It doesn't mean it needs Batman. Like, it doesn't mean that Batman exists just because we need that. It means that the city just might be.
But why do you?
Well, what I'm saying is that this is the thing, is that you're seeking agency. You see something that is doesn't meet this absolutely perfect utopian standard that you have, and you put in some type of data in place that says, hey, if everything's messed up like this, there has to be a reason for it.
And when I think about that, I go back to my personal experiences with God, and it negates exactly what you just said. I don't even have that argument within myself anymore.
Yeah, I believe that. Maybe you don't think about it, but what is a personal experience? What personal experience you have that have gotten you to the conclusion that you're at right now?
I don't share those.
Okay, well,
how can you ever hope to convince anybody of your view if you can't actually share the main thing that brings you to your faith?
I share them when I feel the correct intent. I don't feel the correct intent from you.
Okay, well, listen to this. RanCam, you believe in omens?
No.
No. Like, something will happen, you believe that's an omen?
No.
That's kind of superstition.
No,
well, I mean, okay, God talks to you, right, Ran?
I don't like the word talks. What do you mean by talks?
Communicates with you. Like, somehow God gives a message.
Communicate. I like the word communicate, yes.
Like, he gives you a message.
He communicates with me, yes.
Through an omen.
You can't say that you have a personal relationship with God and then not talk to him. If you
no. Okay, I don't like the word talk. No. But you don't get to tell me what word to use. I don't like the word talk.
What is it? What does personal mean, though?
I like communicate. Can you communicate with your girlfriend without talking?
I love it.
She usually doesn't. She usually doesn't get what I mean.
Well,
I can, but the signals
she
are
gets
always
what I mean, Eric.
Okay, I think you understand what I'm saying. You can communicate without talking. Would you agree?
Yeah.
Okay, well, Ran, what's bad about omens? I mean, I believe in omens.
I don't know that there's anything bad, but I just have never personally put any weight into them. I just, I don't believe in karma. I don't believe in curses. I don't believe in. I mean, I believe that they exist, but I don't put a lot of weight into it.
Okay, like before the interview, I took my neighborhood walk and I got bit by a dog. Omen?
No.
I mean,
what? You just should have been putting your fist in that dog's mouth.
I mean, but unless omens are one of those things where you have to look back on it and be like, oh, maybe that was a sign type thing. Like the being bit by a dog thing, in my opinion, seems like the after effect of an omen that you probably missed.
Yeah, it's more like
twice in my life.
Your mother's back.
Twice in my life, I had 3 people die that were close to me. It happened within a 3-week period. 3 people died. And it happened twice. So I think that there's something with people dying in threes. I don't know if anyone else has experienced that, but that's I kind of... Yeah.
Well, a lot of people believe that. I'm not saying I don't believe in them. I'm just saying that I don't really use them or have a great deal of thought. I'll tell you something that happened to me. And I shared this a couple of weeks ago. I'll give you guys one experience. And you guys can, and I'm just going to tell you, before I tell you this actually really happened. And then you guys can take it for what you want to take it for. I took it for what I chose to take it for. You take it for what you want. My brother died of cancer. He was a year older than me. We didn't have a very good relationship, but in the last 2 weeks of his life, I flew to Ottawa and spent the last 2 weeks in the hospital with him and slept beside him on a cot. And him and I, for the first time in our entire lives, were able to discuss my mother killing our father and having an opportunity to just get to know each other as brothers, because that never happened. He spent his life in the Navy. I spent my life in and out of prison. So we had this last 2 weeks together before he died, and he ended up passing away. And a year ago, I was asleep, and I dreamt that I was on a bus, but I was on the far side of the bus to the curb. So I was looking over the aisle to the next set of seats and then through the window, and I seen my brother walking down the street in this dream. And he was happy. He was walking down the street, and he had that kind of a nice proud step to his walk. He was having a good day. And I looked at him, and he seen me through the window, and I had in my hand, you know those little rubber blue footballs, just a football, but it's a little like a beach football, but the rubber, not Nerf, but rubber. Okay. So I had that in my hand, and I fired it through the window, over the aisle, through the window, onto the street, and he put his hand up and caught it with one hand and then looked at me and smiled. And that was the end of the dream. The very next day, I lived on a beach in Wasaga. So I went out of the house with my dogs. I took my dogs for a walk down to the beach, and I look, and at the end of a driveway is that exact ball. Sitting at the end of the driveway. The exact ball. So you tell me what you think that is.
Confirmation bias. And I'll tell you why. It is because there's a certain aspect of a dream that manifested in something that you saw. You saw a blue football in a dream. You saw a blue football, on in real life when you're walking your dog. That's not too impressive for me. What about the 10,000 other dreams where you dreamed about random things that never came true? This one time that that two things kind of linked up. I mean, if you had been on if you had a dream that you were on a bus and you saw your brother walking down the street and you threw him a football, and then the next day you're on a bus and you see your deceased brother walking down the street and you threw him a football, then I'd be more impressed. But it's just a confirmation bias for a single aspect of a dream that you saw afterwards. It means absolutely nothing.
Well, do you get comfort from this, Ram?
Oh, damn.
Yeah. Well, I tell you what. I was certainly happy to see him smiling because he was a very unhappy man. But he accepted Christ on his deathbed before he passed away. So I took it as he's in a good place right now.
Deathbed conversion.
That's fine. He accepted Christ.
Okay. RanCam, a lot of Christians believe in the supernatural. This is a good thing?
Well, God is supernatural.
Okay.
Can you name something else that's supernatural?
My salvation.
Satan?
My salvation.
Can you name anything else supernatural that we can actually see and compare it to?
I think things that are supernatural have to be. I think those are kind of God's way of revealing Himself to you. But if you're already against it, I think it's pretty hard to convince somebody that comes from a precept of it not being true. So I don't think that those type of revelations. It's
not a precept. I do have presuppositions, and the presuppositions I have basically come to the conclusion that methodological naturalism is the best way for me to interpret the reality around me, because everything has natural explanations. If you could name me something that we'd have to resort to a supernatural explanation, then that'd be great.
Again, I have things that have happened in my life, but I'm not going to share any more with you because I already know, Sokka, that you come from a presup intent of arguing against it, so I'm not going to do that. But what I would say is,
Ren, I just want to point out that the presup intent thing, no precept that I hold it starts off with God doesn't exist. There's not a single presupposition that I hold that throws in that conclusion. I don't think that it's a properly basic belief for me to have. I think that my belief or my lack of belief in a God is purely a result of a conclusion of maybe other presuppositions that I do have. In order for you to actually believe in a God, I believe most of the time I don't think you can come to that rational conclusion unless you presuppose God at the beginning. In which case, I find that that's a much more irrational view than someone that comes to a conclusion that God doesn't exist.
So when you take a look at this thing that we're living in, this world, the fact that we're all rotating and living on a ball, and you think about the universe and the sun and ecosystems and just it all, when you try to put it all into perspective, the human eye and how it works and the reproductive systems and just, I mean, the DNA, just all of it. You put it all in. You try to wrap your head around it. You see, here's the issue I have, Sokka, is that, you know, when Apple comes out with a new iPhone or a new iPad, or when Microsoft comes up with something new, or any of these new inventions, or science comes up with a discovery, you guys are like blown away by it. You're like applauding,
Right.
as fast as it. You're like just so amazed at the iPhone. What an invention! What an amazing, amazing! This is so intelligent design. It's just so amazing. But you look at the universe and the world, and you go, yeah, just happened. I
Yeah.
just.
Well, no, but it's not
crazy to me.
it's not like we don't shrug it off and say
Doc,
"Man,
I mean,
it just
can't
happened."
you sense the frustration of atheists and their
No, I don't. I mean, I take a look at the universe.
truculence
and I think
against?
Yeah, no,
It's-
that's
my-
not what we're doing. What
No.
you're doing is saying, "Man, I'll just throw God in there because I don't know."
No, I don't just
Like-
throw God in there.
I mean, it depends on how you define, things like spirituality. I consider myself very, spiritual in the sense that I can take a look at the universe. I can take a look at what we know in the universe and be like, this is absolutely amazing. But at no point do I ever have to be like, this is absolutely amazing, therefore God.
No, but I don't go, but therefore God. I already told you that I have my intellectual reasons for believing in God.
Yeah,
I have my
Rand wasn't.
scriptural- Go ahead, sorry.
Rand wasn't like brought up on Christianity. See, like I agree with you, Sokka, when you were talking about like how you came to the conclusion based on all available facts, and that your atheism was a rational conclusion. Rand came to that rational conclusion with his Christianity. So like in his mind, it makes sense, and it's all. We can all argue about if God exists or not, but it's all personal experience, and you can't take that away from him. You'll never be able to take that away from someone who believes like that.
No, I exactly. What I know, I can't. You just can't
Absolutely right.
remove it from me. You can't do it.
You're right. You're right.
Well, in Korea, they have this thing called the Manchurian Candidate where they can deprogram you.
Let me explain it to you this way.
Brainwashing.
Let me say this to you. There isn't a dollar amount in this world that could be exchanged for what I now know. I would not want to lose.
You would not sell out.
No, bro. I can't explain it. It's like I just couldn't. There's nothing you could give me to exchange what I have. It can't happen.
It's like trying to tell me that I believe in Christianity when I'm an atheist. I can't, because in my mind I've rationally accepted the fact that I don't think that there's gods. And there's nothing that you can say really unless you show them to me until it's proof. I see evidence for it.
No. You have a price. It's like $50,000.
No.
About
It was
$60,000.
I think it was
$3
$10 million.
bullet.
Doesn't everybody have a price, Rand? Isn't that the way a pimp thinks, that everybody?
Well, here's how I said. I said it to somebody, and I was talking about. You know what I mean? Let me ask you a question. Who we got here? Let me go with Sokka. Sokka, are you a homosexual?
Please.
No, sorry, I'm married.
No.
All right, okay. So, have you ever done anything homosexual? Any homosexual acts in your life?
No.
Okay. So, what would a price be for you to have a homosexual encounter?
$25,000. But I'm not.
25.
Yeah, I'm not too expensive.
Hey, do you want me to lend you the money, Brunto? Want me to lend you the money?
I have to go to the bank. I'm sure they could.
Yeah, I mean, I there's no guarantee that I'm going to enjoy it, but hey, why knock until you try it, right?
But
Okay, so
Rand,
If
Gotta
you
make
want a
that money.
subpar blowjob, it's your money.
Rand, doesn't the pimp believe that everybody has a price?
everybody does have a price.
Everyone does.
So
There's
you're
a
telling
price,
me
man.
you don't have a price?
I don't have a price for what I know. I would not exchange my relationship with Jesus Christ and the knowledge that I have gotten through my experience to Christ. There's no price.
Okay, if you could tell yourself something 10 years ago, right? You wouldn't have believed it if you'd have
I
told
know.
yourself.
No, I would have never believed I'd be where I am today, bro.
So where are you today?
I'm on a path to peace that I didn't even know existed, to be honest with you. I have lived a life of absolute turmoil and where I've had to be my surroundings, and I've never been able to find peace. I've been doing 160 miles an hour and a 40 my whole life, and I've never been able to sit down and just relax. This is going to sound victiming, like I'm victimizing myself. It sounds like I'm going to be a victim here, but I don't know what it's like to be tucked in by a mother. I don't know what it's like to be hugged by a grandmother. I don't know what it's like to sit down with a grandfather and listen to him tell an old story. I don't know what it's like to be, to have a dad drive you to school and just take a moment to tell you he's proud of you.
Warmth and tenderness.
I mean, do you understand what I'm saying? So I've lived this life where I have been separated from the things that most people have, and everything that I've been separated, I've now found through Christ. All of that I just described is what I experience in my relationship with Christ.
So all the sorts of like memories that come up from those kinds of issues, like God's taking care of them, you've been reborn, and you no longer have any sort of traumatic experiences, or it affects your like emotional levels, or you know what I mean, dude?
Yeah, but I see them as a purpose now, though, Lyrics. I see that my mother killing my father, there was purpose in that. I see that where, I was beaten and abused as a child in an orphanage. I see that as there was a purpose there. I look in the mirror today and I see purpose. I don't see a man that needs to go out and take from others in order to feel as though I have purpose. My purpose is much different now.
That's an excellent answer. I'd like to just cap the interview right now. I'd like to thank RanCam for an excellent interview. I hope to have you again. I'd like to thank all our participants. And I wish you all a happy St. Patrick's Day coming up. Enjoy yourself and have a great weekend. Take care.
Yeah.